everybody. Welcome aboard indeed. I tell you what, we've got almost a full Hollywood Squares of people in here tonight. For those of you who are maybe old enough to remember Hollywood Squares, hello, greetings and salutations from Colorado. Yeah, I'm sporting my Broncos stuff tonight, Mike. We're playing the Raiders tomorrow, so it's going to be a big game. It's going to be a big game. Mickey Mike is here. CST Gaming is on board along with EJ Davis. Fly with Lotto is making a special, yet another rare public appearance tonight. And glad to see Lotto in here with us, and of course Major Mark. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna take to calling him Hollywood Owls tonight. Is on board. How y'all doing? Welcome, welcome.
Hello.
Hola.
Everybody speak at once. That'll help.
Hello.
Right on.
Yes. Sorry, guys. Apologies, but what's up, guys? Hope you're doing well. I got this live on our side as well because it's going to be a relatively how do I put this? I don't want to say it's going to be a interesting discussion. It's going to be a spirited discussion as we talk everything about the launch of Microsoft 2024. I guess that's the hype that's going around right now, and you guys already know that, with what's going on in the last few days, it's going to be a long discussion. I'm looking forward to hearing. I'm gonna keep myself a little quiet this time and let everybody else kind of hear their 2 cents about what's going on. But yeah, man, it's gonna be awesome. We got Owls in the house. Lotto, EJ Davis from VATSIM Caribbean Division, my man, the legend himself over there. We got CST Game and Major Mark, also Wings for Hope members and also good friends of mine. So we're looking forward to having this discussion today. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Everybody that's trickling in. We got Dewan, Ivan, Rich S, Tankin, Steel Highway Productions, Flight Streamers in the house, Flight Streamer, the legend himself, Kevin47, Captain Crystal, Dewan, I already said that, Rich S, what's going on, guys? Appreciate you guys all being here. Welcome, welcome. But I'm going to go ahead and let Jack get to his thing, and we're going to enjoy today's conversation, man.
Yeah, I tell you what, Mike, I'll do the same here. I want to say hello to everybody in my chat. Plot FS is here. Lotto, I see you signed in there, so I'm going to count you as on my stream here. Element is in here. Yoham has signed in, Plain Studios, and Noah. Noah says, sorry he couldn't join in as he's been studying, but 2024 release was a show. To say the least. And Mike, I'm going to go ahead and start out with my diatribe on it, because as you guys have seen in your chats during the week when you've been trying to make this this monstrosity work, I'm super disappointed in it. I come from a broadcast engineering background, and with me, you don't put out crap for people to use out in the field that they have to figure out how to use it. I had a perfect example just this week with a piece of software from a major manufacturer, and they sent it out. They did not send all the instructions with it. I had to call their tech support and get a couple of people deep to be able to understand that, no, to make this work, you've got to do this and this and this in the beginning. And I really, really think Asobo has really, really fouled up with this. And I'm going to keep all my shall we say, colorful metaphors to myself about it, but they really should not have put this stuff out at this point. They should have beta tested it more. They kept saying, we've been waiting for this for months and months and months. And it's come out, and people are not only having to do deep dives on how to even make the basic functions work and everything, but it's just not a good product. And to pay the money that has to be paid for it, I think greed and avarice kind of took over with it. They really should have waited another year. Had a lot of you guys, CST Gaming, Mickey Mike, Owls, Lotto, the people who get deep into this and help them figure it out. And I'm sure that they've had some people, doing some testing. But God, what a horrible job. And then to release it and to get stuck like so many people did, even live. I saw, Captain Canada's stream the other day where he was stuck at 97% and having to go back to 2020 to do, any kind of simulation and try to hope that the thing went far. I think it was just terrible. I would never ever would want to put out that kind of product to start with. So let's use that as the basis.
Yeah.
So as a professional, though, and trying to do, good work in business with people out in the world, you just don't do this kind of thing. I'm appalled. Had no idea. So there you go, guys.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you just from my standpoint, I'm just gonna kind of get my opinion out there, and then I'm gonna let the tribe speak on it.
Yeah.
I was severely disappointed in the release of this simulator. I think Microsoft vastly underestimated the user base that was going to be utilizing this simulator on day one. I think I read something, and correct me if I'm wrong, whoever's in this on this panel, correct me if I'm wrong, but I read somewhere that Microsoft beta tested a server load of 200,000 users. That's not even the user base of Microsoft 2020 in and of itself. So, and if I'm not mistaken, on day one, they had over 2 million people accessing their servers trying to download the simulator at the same time. So they underestimated by a percentage of over 90%. So it was unfortunate because day one was just an absolute cluster, with trying to get the sim downloaded. And then once you actually got into the sim and logged in and all that kind of stuff, you found that the sim wasn't even ready to be utilized as what was supposed to be a out of the box, be able to transition to this sim within month or so, or even on day one, which a lot of people were severely disappointed about. So for me, there was just a question of why and how was this able to happen. I think it was rushed. I think Microsoft was trying to do their best to get something out before the holidays and get the 2024 out sim within 2024 in and of itself. But at the same time, I think those of us that are serious simmers, such as everybody on this panel and many of those that are in our chats tonight, I think, at least as a consumer, for someone that just spent $130 on a program to be utilized, especially for, as a flight simmer and a content creator, I would have much rather waited till the end of the year. I would have much rather waited for a more complete product for it to be able for them to stress test and to understand what their user base was going to be. So to say that I was disappointed and frustrated day one is just is an understatement. So.
Well, see, and that's part of my major problem with it is the fact that they charge you $130 for this thing, and and it's not even really ready to go. It's not ready to play, to sim, whatever you want to do with it.
Right.
The aircraft, as I understand, you were saying that the commercial aircraft are not really working that well, or the career modes, that sort of thing. I'll let you guys. Of course, differentiate on that a little bit as we go. EJ, good evening. Welcome. You're my next square up here. Tell us what you think about the release of 2024.
Well, I feel like a large organization like that should be able to understand how to release a little bit better. As some of the comments that I've read have talked about ways that in similar releases, large organizations have rolling releases where, based off of your time zone, that's what time you have access to that content. There was a lot of miscommunication about when you could do the early download as well, which led to a lot of people pulling data from the server at one time. So overall, it seems that Microsoft, they were acting like it was the first time that they've ever released a game. And that's, a solo, I guess. It really falls on them. But overall, even once we did get it running, they did not do a good job of explaining that the marketplace was going to take time to prepare. And today was only the first day that I saw that things from the marketplace were now being pulled into 24. So just a very, I think we all knew that it was going to be, a transition from 2020 to 24, just like we had from whatever sim we were using before to 2020. But this was overwhelmingly probably the worst way that they could have released it. I really hope that they take their lessons learned from this and at least make the next few weeks to months here much more manageable, and that the updates come out rolling a little bit quicker.
Absolutely. CST, over to you. What do you think, my friend?
I think it's fantastic. I think they're doing a great job. Keep it up, Sobo, Microsoft. I couldn't be more excited about the new sim release.
Careful, man. The facetiousness is
Um,
seeping through the skin a little bit.
No, I mean the fact that it took us 48 hours to be able to get into the sim,
Yeah.
in and of itself shows how good it is, right? I mean, it's perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. I love everything about it. I wish I could get my money back, but they said no. They said I couldn't get my money back because I had more than 2 hours of gameplay. Little do they know, it was more than 2 hours me waiting to get to the gameplay. I never really got to the gameplay, but I guess that counts as a gameplay. So Steam wouldn't give him a refund. So there goes my $200 because I bought like a true soldier. I bought the Aviator edition for $200. And that was probably the best money I ever spent in my life. So I'm very excited. I can't wait for everything that Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 has to bring and offer, and I hope they bring it and offer it soon, because right now they haven't brought or offered anything of quality. So, I mean, there's good and bad about it, right? We all get in it. You know, I guess the GA aspect of bush flying and all that good crap is somewhat okay. It's not perfect. It's not good. It's okay. The lighting is different. Obviously, we all know that the ground physics and all that good stuff is different. Quite honestly, I see a lot of people glazing the flight dynamics, and I don't see nothing different. They fly the same shit. 2020, 2024, they all fly the same to me. I don't feel any different whatsoever. But I do see a lot of people on YouTube. They're like, "Oh, this handle's so much different." Yeah, okay, dude. Yeah, right. Because you can feel it on your yoke. Look how different it handles. Shut up. So, anyways, yeah, the ground physics. When I say the ground physics, I don't mean like, oh, this plane feels so heavy. First of all, you can't feel heavy, dummy. Okay, that's number one. When I talk physics, I talk like the tire marks that it lives on the ground. You know, the bouncing of the plane when it's taxiing around. That's what I'm saying with the physics. You're not gonna feel it on your controls. There's no way for you to feel it. So when I see people, oh my God, this feels so much heavier. This feels so much blah blah blah. I'm thinking to myself, you are so stupid, dude. But anyways, that's neither here or there. If that's what you do, that's what you do. I respect it. Do you, dude? But at the same time, I am very, very, very disappointed with 2024. I was expecting a lot more, not because I expected more myself, but because that's what Microsoft and Asobo led me to expect. They hyped it up. They told us how great it was going to be. They told us all this. They invited a team of 75 people in a secluded secret location to go look at this thing and have fun. And they came back and they told us how great it was. So we're over here like, oh my God, this is going to be the best thing since sliced bread, right? And then it comes out and you can't even freaking download it, right? And then when you finally get into it, it doesn't work right. Yeah. Like the planes are see-through and there's no wing flex, the brakes don't work, the UI is broken, stuff that you have down to perfection on Flight Sim 2020. How do you manage to break it on 2024? Right? How is it that Toby, for example, on 2020 works perfectly, and on 2024 it makes your sim crash? Like, how do you do that? How do you break something that you mastered previously, right? It's like, yeah, I learned how to do that 2 weeks ago, but now I just totally messed it up. I don't know what happened. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's just baffling at best. I don't know what to say, man. I was already, like we were talking before, I was already on a down spiral with me getting kind of a little
burnt
out of flight simulation as it is. So whenever release date came on and it kind of gave me the little boost of like, oh, I'm excited again. And then this happened. That made it even worse, right? So, anyways, yeah, is it gonna be 6 months now? Is it gonna be 12 months? I don't know. Do you think that Microsoft and Asobo are at their offices right now in GQ mode, in panic mode, trying to fix what they messed up? I don't think so. There's no chance. They're not working today. They're not working yesterday. They're not working tomorrow. You know, it's whenever they get to it, they get to it. They pushed an update. Did you guys see the update they pushed? It was like what? 3 bug fixes? 3 bug fixes, Asobo? That's what you're gonna give us? 3 bug fixes after the sham that you pulled a few days ago? Come on, dude.
Yep. I think
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's ridiculous, and it's been just a sham from the very beginning. And you're right. You know, 2020 is developed, and it's so good. You think that would be a good solid base, but it looks like they just threw caution to the wind and have totally redone everything with no thought to the base there. Lotto, what do you think?
Thank you. I hope you guys are having an amazing evening. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm gonna be the first to say thank you, Microsoft, for giving me a free copy of this sim, because I'm telling you right now, I would have wanted just to be like, hey, I'm done. I'm not gonna play this. I'm gonna play 2020 only. So I appreciate them for just helping me out in that sense, because I didn't spend 130 bucks on premium deluxe. The biggest thing is they weren't ready. Simple as that. They were not ready, right? CSC said it best. I know everybody's going to be saying it. Everybody's pretty frustrated. I feel horrible for like the community, right? I know a lot of people that were so excited about this, right? We all get burned out after 4 years of flying almost the same things. Thank God at the end there we were getting some airplanes, right? I think the biggest thing for me is you get in here and you got these videos that they show you, and I know how long it takes to edit a video. I just made 2 videos with Microsoft, and it took me an hour and a half just to edit it to make it look good because of the graininess, because it's all being streamed, right? So in the end, when something is being streamed, it doesn't matter. I have 1 gig internet, but when you got a whole bunch of people that are playing it, if your servers can't handle it, it does not matter. So it's gonna look good in some spots. I got to give it to them. At least the Grand Canyon looks nice. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm guess when I fly to LA or Vegas or Phoenix, I might be able to see it, right? So those are nice. But besides that, it's a disappointment. And I love these guys, right? I'm not, I'm done, right? I'm not going to play Microsoft now, because I ride or die with Microsoft, right? That's since FS98, it's only been Microsoft for me. I have never even, I tried X-Plane for an hour, I think it was, and I uninstalled it. So, but it's just sad that we have to go through this in a community where it was like everything was uphill, right? In flight simming. And right now, this just literally just a straight down nosedive. So that's basically it.
There's so many things we'll touch on here. The rollout, server inadequacy, having to stream the software, it's my understanding, and maybe you guys can clarify this just a little bit for me, but that it's not totally resident on your computer like the 2020 software is. Als, what do you think? And then let's see, I want to make sure to get to Major Mark there too. Als, what do you think? You're up.
I'll say it in the simplest terms there is. It's Microsoft. How much is that company worth again?
Yeah.
There's no reason for them to release something like that. Now, I will give it to them. Some stuff is cool. I will say I've been a little bit of a kid recently with the customizable characters and stuff. But at the end of the day,
that was apparent on your stream when you had a campfire set up on JFK's terminal.
At the end of the day, it's a flight sim. It's CST.
How ironic is it that the best part? Now listen to me. This is what flight simulation has come to. How ironic is it that the best part about a brand new flight simulator that just dropped a few days ago are the parts that have nothing to do with flight simulation?
Yep.
Thank you, Microsoft. You nailed it. Like that just blows my mind.
I can go third party. Look at me.
Look at me. I can run around this mountain.
Let's
It's
go to the
incredible.
runway. Let's run to the runway.
Like, I get it, and I get it. You know what?
You kind of shot
I
yourself
get
in the
it.
foot there,
I
buddy.
understand. I understand. I get it. I get it. The I understand coming from people like Owls, right? The gaming community of even though Owls is an established flight simmer, I give him that, right? But at the same time, he is that kid, right? He is the Fortnite kid, he is the Roblox kid, right? And that's precisely what Asobo and Microsoft was trying to do. They were trying to capture that kid, right? And they got him.
Oh, I think
They
you're
got
right.
him hook and sinker,
Right.
dude. Because you know what? Because now I can put clothes on my character. I can make him with a big forehead, and I can run around the taxi tarmac, and I can go climb, and I can put a tent up there, and I can bring my dog. What does that have to do with Microsoft Flight Simulation, dude?
You know, Al's, I was thinking the only thing that they didn't have when you were doing that is your dreads, man. You know, they were missing,
Exactly.
you know,
He had his dreads. He has his dreads all the way back. I promise you, he had them.
you know, we're laughing at the chat too. There's so many
Yeah.
good things going on there in the
Yeah,
chat.
my
wonder-
chat's going crazy right now, man. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Owls. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Hey,
Al's,
I don't even know where our freaking was, but that prime example of the best thing about that flight sim was not the flight sim itself. It was the gaming aspect of it. Now, I think that it was rushed. I honestly didn't notice that much difference between the beta and the release. I think they did about 5 seconds of fixing and released it. If anybody knows about Fortnite, if I'm calling me a Fortnite kid, they recently every update decided to change stuff that doesn't need to be changed, and that's exactly what Microsoft did. Why do we change the settings layout? Why do we change how to do different binding? There was no need for any of that, and they did it. That's all I gotta say.
yeah. All right. Well, they did it indeed. Mark, you're up here. What do you think, buddy?
I don't know what the heck we bought. I don't know where my $200 is. I want my $200 back because this is not. Oh, this is
Can't
not a
have
flight sim. This is like Roblox Flight Sim 3.0 here. I got an avatar that can do more than my plane does. I want my money back. I've been writing Microsoft. I've been calling 800 numbers all day. I'm kind of fed up. It's leading me to drink again, which I got a drinking problem. But hey, so is life. This is where we're at now. We're at, Avatar Sim 3.0. We can put trucks in the sim. We can put cars in the sim. But we
Dog.
can't put planes in the sim.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jetways all over the place. Here I go home.
Hey, Jack, have you ever seen the Fortnite game? Have you ever seen that game?
No, I'm not familiar with it. No.
Play it
Well, do you
tonight.
know how the characters like do the dance moves and
Oh,
stuff,
God.
and they do all that,
Okay. Okay.
right?
You know what
Literally
this
the other
reminds
day,
me of?
Owls was like, I can't wait until they do that with Microsoft Flight Simulator. Like he's waiting,
Check
he's
out
waiting
that.
for the characters to be able to dance around and
And
run
it's the
around.
dumb
and-
shit that's
we're gonna-
said
we're gonna
like
be doing
that
this
that makes a
pretty soon,
Sobo go, that's a good fucking idea, man.
It's gonna happen. If Asobo doesn't do it, it's gonna be a mod. It's gonna be another developer that's gonna do it, right?
Yeah.
Right, and it's probably guess what? Guess who's gonna do it? I also know exactly what I'm about to say. Guess who's gonna do that dumb shit? Parallel 42 is gonna do it. That's who's gonna do it.
That's them.
break out the DDR
Number one
map, bro.
sponsor.
And I'll tell you,
Absolutely.
Jack, I've spent a considerable amount of time in this sim over the last few days, just kind of testing, going back and forth. And I just saw something in my chat from a good friend of mine and viewer, Brendan Beery, said V1 simulation said it the best. It's 80% game and 20% sim right now. And I think that's a very, very accurate statement to make right now, because I think those that are in this chat right now and those that were in the VC last night, we were messing around on multiplayer and being able to get out of the airplane and, hang out with each other and check out the avatars and this, that, the third, and fly around and do a bunch of BS like we were last night. That was fun, and I see that there is a market that they were attempting to target with that type of stuff, which is cool. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't think there's been a single sim where we've been able, with the exception of GTA 5, we've actually been able to exit an aircraft and go walk around with our friends and stuff like that, and with Owls and his Parallel 42 mod, setting up campfires and stuff and cooking up burgers on the JFK terminal but next to his 330 today. They're as a realist, trying to think of what to say about the sim right now is the gaming aspect of it is very much there. It's very much a game, you know, and that's what I've been calling it since day one. You know, on day one on release, I was actually invited into a voice chat with Blue Games and XP72, who are very, very successful YouTube content creators within flight simulation and train sim and American truck sim, so on and so forth. And we were sitting talking, and we were like, bro, what in the world is going on right now? Because we were in the VC the minute it released. We all hit play at the same time. We installed it at the exact same time. We all got stuck at that 97%. And by the time, you know, it came around, I looked at the clock. I was like, man, I got to be at work in 6 hours. I ain't been to sleep yet, you know? So I had to finally shut down the computer and try again later, you know, and hopefully get it to work. And it finally worked. And over the last few days, since I've been flying around in the sim and checking out the career mode, I think arguably is the best thing about this sim right now. The career mode is very much it's pretty in depth. You know, the one thing I cannot stand about the career mode right now is the AI voices. The AI voices you get sick of in half of a second, I promise you that. But you know, there are it sucks that we have gone back to square one with Microsoft. It really does, because 20 times, a lot of just said it the best to me, is like the fact that we are on that snowball slope of just so much stuff coming to the sim, and you know, new airplanes and sceneries and new mods, so on and so forth. Gmora, thank you for the sub, appreciate you. Weather Ninja as well, I really do appreciate the subs, thank you. The fact that we are able to do what we are doing in 2020 and then be like, holy crap, bro, the fact that we're gonna be able to do this in 2024 on day one is incredible. And then we get to day one and we're like, yeah, where did my $130 just go to, man? You know, that's a lot of money. It ain't no $40 sim like it was back in the day. You know, $20 from a GameStop or something like that back in the day, picking up a hard copy of a disc and bringing it to your computer and hoping to God that it installs. You know, this is $130, $200 some people have spent on this sim. Like, what in God's name went wrong? So I said this on my stream yesterday. I really hope that Microsoft is looking at the developers of this sim right now and saying, what happened? Who's responsible for this? And let me know who it is so I can fire them and bring in people that know what the fuck they're doing. You know, I hope
Bill
that's
Gates.
what's going on,
Yeah,
but you know,
you guys got to get on there.
that's what I'm saying. You know,
Oh, that's
like,
that's
yo,
not gonna happen. That's not gonna
I
happen
know,
because
but-
it's at the top, right? The person in charge is the one that says, "I see the state of the sim, but we have to release it on the 19th."
Yeah.
Like, that's just, they already knew. Like, if you think that they weren't expecting all this, then you need to like rethink life. They knew exactly what was gonna happen. They knew they were gonna get a mass traffic. They knew the servers were gonna crash. They knew the stuff was never gonna work, but they had to release it. They had no choices, because that's just the way they roll, right? One thing I was hoping for is, I was always hopeful, right? And before they released, there was a lot of people in my community and in our community, because we all pretty much share the same people, but you know, hey, this is a game, it's no longer a simulator, yada yada yada. And I was defending, and I was like, look, man, only because they're trying to capture a bigger audience by bringing in the gamers, by giving them missions and the little character that runs around and the career mode and all this stuff, doesn't mean they're not going to tend to the flight sim community and give us quality pre-flight vet sim and all that good stuff. It's still gonna happen, right? They're not gonna mess that up, right? Because if you see where 2020 is today, right? We all knew 2020 was a shamble when it first released, right? But you got to think about, this particular team was the first time they ever developed something like this. You know, George and all these developers come from different backgrounds. They don't come from a flight simming community. They come from like first-person shooters and games of that nature, right? So those are the type of games that we're accustomed to developing, right? So when they tackle flight simulation, it was a totally new environment for them. They had to learn all this stuff. So obviously 2020 was not the best release, but I was always under the impression that in the past 6-7 years, because they've been working on 2020 for this long, right? They learned a thing or two, right? So I was always in a firm belief when I was talking to people that, look, it's not going to happen. 2024 release is going to be successful. It's going to be good, because these people know what they're doing, right? I mean, look at 2020 now. How do you mess it up, right?
Yeah.
The only thing they're doing is they're going to stream it rather than download it, right? It's the same sim. It's essentially it's the same sim. They just added some more functions to it and have a new engine to which it runs on. Which, oh, by the way, that's a whole different subject because it's not running right. I don't know if you guys have noticed this. It's not taking advantage of all cores. It's not taking advantage of powerful GPUs.
Wasn't that
It's
a big
not-
selling point? Wasn't that supposed
Yeah,
to be
it's
a selling point?
that was supposed to be the big point, right? It was
That's
supposed to be
coming
take
later.
advantage of, but that now it's coming later because
course.
I guess they didn't do it right. Something didn't go well. But you know, I hate to say this, but I was a big promoter of it, right? I was telling people, look, man, let the gamers be gamers, let the fly simmers be fly simmers.
Yeah.
You know, we can all share the same sim. You know, only because he likes to land on an aircraft carrier with an Antonov, let him do whatever the hell he wants to do, right? We're gonna do it a certain way. They're gonna do it a
Yeah.
certain way. You know, if you want to track the gamer aspect, that they can have that piece of the scene. It does.
Yeah.
It's not gonna affect me in any way, shape, or form, right? So I was always promoting that because, you know, the bigger the crowd, the bigger the money, the better the sim, right? That's the way I look at it. But I was not expecting such a downfall. I was not expecting such a failure, and I can guarantee you they actually were. So the fact that they come on live and they say, "Hey, look, we weren't expecting all the," what do you mean you weren't expecting all the traffic? The base players, the base traffic of players of 2020 is over 50 million. You weren't expecting more than 50 million for 2024? What are you, high? Like,
Yeah,
come on, dude. Wake up and smell the roses. Go outside and go touch some grass, dude. What are you talking about? You weren't expecting the traffic.
Yeah,
Are you
that's
serious?
That's a very good point to make. And, you know, speaking of which, Dan Barry in my chat here, Mike, too, says, amazing that a company pushing the cloud so hard could fail so bad at scaling up for mass deployment. And that's another problem I really have with this sim that with this software is that you're going to have to stream a lot from the cloud. And I thought that's a horrible business model to start with, using the term business model once again, instead of having the base software and everything you really need to run the sim on there, because, you know, maybe not everybody's got the same internet connection that some of us are blessed to have. Maybe somebody doesn't have the same type of capabilities within their hardware to be able to do things the way they can without having to stream this in their constant load on the internet. I think that's a horrible thing. What do you
Jack-
guys think about that? Go ahead, EJ.
Yeah, Jack, I wanted to jump in on that because I think that is one of the biggest things that I don't believe the community has fully realized yet. The streaming, one, it is bad for, you know, people with bad internet connectivity, and I assume that there are things that can be done to address that with more local caching and stuff like that. But you know, one thing is how FS 2024 was bad on release, but now that I'm looking at the product as a whole, there's some very concerning things going on. And if any of you have been on to flightsim.to's website, you'll see that there's a article that they posted. If you click into that article, there is a post that they posted to the actual FS website, MSFS website, and it talks about how since they're streaming the official content, the painters don't have access to go make paints for the plane, so they have those sections of the website currently empty because there's no way to put a locally stored paint onto something that is being streamed. Now that in itself is one problem. Sure, of course you could say, well, the planes that are created solely like Phoenix and stuff, that's not going to affect them, sure. But when we think of things like what happened with Kuro, Horizon Sim, Fly-by-Wire, these organizations that made their aircraft with pieces from the default aircraft, that's not going to work either. So there's some topic back and forth is if it's a temporary thing or if it's a finalized thing. But if all of this stuff stays streamed, we're going to see that it's going to be even harder for developers, especially the freeware ones, who are using proprietary MSFS official things to be able to create their products. And I've been watching that topic. It's very interesting. But if it continues to stay this way, I actually see a lot of people downgrading to 2020 because that's where the easiest access to making aircraft, making paints will be. And 2024 is really putting itself at a disadvantage by making everything encrypted, and it's putting itself at odds with the mod community, which is another topic that was brought up there, that some of the FS developers were blaming these mods for issues that people were experiencing in 2020, so they want to make it harder for that community to thrive the way that it is. And so a lot of this is very concerning to read through. It's certainly the heart and soul of what made 2020 what it is. And most of us who don't stream waited very, very long to move from prepared or whatever they were using to MSFS because we wanted those planes, we wanted to have those experiences that require that modding. So I think that streaming thing, especially how it's currently implemented, is a horrendous disadvantage to the mod community and to users who are really invested in building it out. On top of that, I also want to note what CST said there about who their target market is. Honestly, when they killed Flights FSX, that was the last one that was really focused around the really dedicated aviation fans. They made Flight, which was a absolute bust because they tried to make it like all the other games.
Disaster.
Yep. And then they moved to 2020 where they started to focus on the Xbox users. And I saw it. A lot of people streamed with using Xbox controllers, and they really focused on that crowd today. So now when we get into this iteration, they have completely forgotten the roots. And it's, you know, it's not even the team that worked with FSX. It's a team that has a different goal and a different way of looking at it, and they're really focusing in on this new younger crowd, how they play games, what they work with, and they're less concerned with the hardcore aviation people who have been playing it since FS98, like myself, and I think that was Lotto who said he did as well. So, you know, there's a lot of concerns over what this means for the future.
In Xbox was the perfect thing. As soon as they went to Xbox, I got some stats right here. 2.97 million, okay, Xbox users bought liveries at $4.99. Think about that. 2.9 million users bought liveries at $4.99. That's huge, right? They knew that this is the route they're going to go. 2028 is going to be the same thing, and that's exactly what they're going to come out with.
Yeah,
where
it's
there's
almost
going to be
$14
no more
million
free
in
airplanes.
revenue. Yeah,
you're going to buy everything, and this is all a business. This is what everybody does this for, right? This community was great, man. You got somebody that makes add-on linker, and the guy goes, they message him and say, hey, can I you know, tip you? He said, absolutely not, man. I did this because I want to make sure that everybody can have what I have. And that's the amazing part about this community, and that's what people have forgotten, right? It's, oh my God, it's like, how do I make a quick buck, right? How do I charge somebody $200 and give them a shit product? My apologies. You know what I'm saying? But in the end, this is what it's all about. It's about making money, and they know that they've got the younger community, the Xbox community, that they're able to do it. I mean, look at, they're literally, right before 2024 came out, there are special deals, and Microsoft is actually putting that on their Instagram and on their TikTok about a joystick that looks like an Xbox controller, even though it's not, right? You can play with the throttles at the bottom, right? So it's like, that's who their market is, and it sucks because in the end, man, you know, like, what's going to happen? What's the future? And I'm very sad to see. I know this sim's going to be great at one point. I know that. But I was telling everybody, a couple other people were telling us on Discord, like, hey, they're not going to have this ready. They're not going to have that ready. They mentioned it, and I never realized it because we were always so hyped up with like, oh my God, this is going to be so great. But it's a shame, and it's a disappointment.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me into my next question, Jack, and I don't know if this is on the agenda of questions to ask here, but one of the biggest questions that I have right now, because it's been almost 5 days since the sim is released, and I don't know about y'all, but for me personally, and all the Discords that I'm a part of and forums that I follow and emails that I'm subscribed to and stuff like that, I have heard next to nothing from third-party development teams in reference to what to expect in the coming days or weeks or months to products transferring over. Biggest one for me right now is VATSIM, right? And I'm gonna jump this up to EJ because I want to know, is VATSIM actively working on making sure this product is compatible with 2024? Do they have concerns as well with how the platform is working, if they're even going to be able to bring this anytime soon. So, and that leads to the question of what is going to happen with third-party development moving forward with how the platform of this sim is operating. So, EJ, being you're with the VETSIM division, I'll allow you to speak on that, and then if anybody has an opinion on that, we'll go from there. But that's my personal biggest concern, is when are we going to start seeing more third-party development? What are they doing in the background, and what has the sim caused for them in reference to workload to cause delays for their products? Because we heard at the expo, those that were at the expo, we heard, oh, you're gonna just be able to drop your community folder right into Microsoft 24 and everything work right out the box. But that's very much so not the case, right?
You're gonna be spending $3.99. You wait and see.
So I'd like to hear from EJ and everybody here, especially you, Jack, as well, and Owls, being he's streaming as well, and kind of just give everybody's opinion on that. And, you know, will we see third-party development anytime soon?
Yeah, so VETSIM is not quite. Their relationship with Microsoft has changed. It used to be a very easy back and forth conversation. There's been a lot of issues with the amount of closeness that Microsoft developed with VETSIM and the pilot. We just got really bad pilots off the close relationship that they had last time around. So they are interested in making it fully compatible, but they're being much more cautious with this. There is even a way now that if the 2024 does some weird things that will get you kicked off the server just automatically, and they're trying to work out the bugs with that. Technically, right now, if you try to connect with vPilot, it will work. We're seeing that the altitude data is showing up correctly this time, but there's a lot of those AI things, not AI, those assistance things that they put on, that Microsoft puts on by default, that are messing with the way that it interacts, so that your jumping frequencies or your Mode Charlie, your transponder is not showing up correctly, even if it is showing up in the plane. So those small things are creating issues for the controllers, for those folks who are trying to use it. It will be coming, but VETSIM no longer is trying to have that one-to-one relationship with Microsoft because the negative pilot feedback that they got there. So I know the tech team has it as a high priority, but they're not exactly dying to go get everybody who's currently trying to use 2024 over to VETSIM like they did with 2020.
Right. Yeah, and it makes sense.
Well, how about I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'll make this simple, okay? The number one thing about what you just said right there, that's scary to hear, first of all, that you just said what you just said, that the relationship between Microsoft and, you know, VETSIM is not the same as it used to be, right? Because I promise you that's not happening with X-Plane. That's not the issue. If they see the majority of the issues that they're having when it comes to new pilots flying is on flights on Microsoft. So that's why the issues are there. So that's a little scary to hear. That's all I wanted to add.
Okay. CST, did you have a comment?
Microsoft really doesn't care about VETSIM. They don't make any money off of VETSIM. And going back to the all, you know, developers and modders and all that stuff, again, developers, third-party developers that develop free stuff and modders that do free mods do not bring any money into Microsoft. That's why they don't care about that. So the fact that they are going that direction by streaming the aircraft rather than downloading the aircraft and allowing modders to have access to the plane is by design. They meant to do it that way because that is the only way that's going to make them money, right? That's why the other day I mentioned, I'm like, I feel like I'd be robbed. Like it feels like a money grab, right? It was always gonna go this way. As soon as they got a taste of the Xbox community, where the Xbox community, you gotta pay for delivery, right? They're like, I guarantee you that we're all in the round table and they're like, how can we get the same money from the PC guys? Oh, a little 20-year-old probably had a great idea. He's like, hey, why don't we just stream it instead of letting them download it? If we stream it, they can't access the files. They're gonna have to buy the deliveries from us, right? So instead of allowing modders to do that and provide that type of stuff for free on places like FlightSim.io, what they will do is they'll say, hey, you want to create liveries? Jump on board, buddy. Create liveries for us. Put them on the marketplace and you'll take a share, right? So it's money for everybody. They did that with any builds. They've done that. Whenever you launch Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, what do you see as soon as you launch it? A big screen with a whole bunch of developers, right? All the little logos. You got any builds. You got Flight Sim FX. You got, you name it. There's a whole bunch of them. Those are all peoples that Microsoft said, come here, buddy. We got you. You don't need to be doing stuff on your own anymore. It's all about money. I mean, you can't, and at the same time, right? Because we're used to the old ways, you can't really fault them too much, right? Because it's a business. They don't care about the flight simmer being happy. They care about how much money did we make this month. That's all they care about, right?
Yeah.
And when they hear the flight sim community scream about, oh, this is broke, this is messed up, they'll just throw up a stream and be like, oh yeah, we're working on it. Hey Bob, what are we doing? Well, yeah, we've been trying to fix this thing with the thing. It's hard, so we gotta do the code and thing. You know, they'll spill a bunch of crap on you, and you're like, oh yeah, they're working on it. Yeah. Look, I mean, Horace said he's working on it. You know, okay, cool, great. At the end of the day, it's a business, fellas. It's not what it used to be in the FSX days, in the FS9.
Yeah.
Back in those days, it was a bunch of flight aviation enthusiasts working on stuff like this.
Yeah.
Now it's a bunch of money hungry. Let me just stop there. The other piece, now that I'm done with that, was
Mine, brother.
was what Mike was saying. Who knows, man? What I will tell you is this: if I was PMDG, if I was Phoenix, if I was one of those third-party developers that have not been absorbed by the Microsoft Asobo umbrella, right, and I'm still want to make money on my own, right? I wouldn't give you an upgrade for free. I wouldn't do it. I would make a Microsoft 2024 version of the plane and charge you for it. That's just the right way to do it as a business.
Yeah.
And again, if you think that these people, including Phoenix, I don't care what you tell me about Phoenix, PMDG, you know, they'll have Robert Randazzo come on a stream and be like, oh yeah, I'm a big aviation buff guy. I do this because I love it. No, dude, you do this because you're making millions. All right. Do you see stupid right here, dude? Come on, bro. You don't do it because you love it, my dude. Okay. You do it because you're making millions of freaking dollars. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you love aviation? Sure, you might love aviation, but you're not doing it because you love it. You're doing
He
it
loves that
because
Dassault Falcon appeals. That's what he loves.
Yeah, I was about to say
you love
Mark.
that. You love that green stuff.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I guarantee you that 90% of those developers, including sceneries and everything else, 90% of them, I'll give you 80%. They're gonna charge you something.
Yeah.
For an upgrade to 2024.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get it for free. When is that gonna happen? Who the hell knows, dude?
Right.
At this point, there's no telling it. Because how are we gonna get the planes? Is Microsoft gonna tell them they're gonna have to upload it and stream them? Do they gotta upload it in the marketplace?
The third-party developers are going to be charged for their products to be streamed into the
Are
simulator.
they gonna be charged?
Right.
Right? How are you gonna do that?
Right.
I'm pretty sure that you can buy off of PNDG straight and put it in a community folder. But is it going to lack something?
Probably.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I could see Microsoft going to like PMDG or Phoenix and saying, "Hey, we're gonna pay you an upfront amount of money, a royalty for your product to be within the sim, but it has to be streamed, and anything that gets updated with this airplane and reference deliveries and stuff like that is now gonna have to go through us." Mark, what do you think? What's your opinion on all this?
I saw it coming. I saw it coming at Expo when they started talking about how they were doing great things to the marketplace. The whole marketplace conversion thing, that what everything that CSC just got through talking about, that's where it started at, with that 20-year-old and the exec in Microsoft on the balcony having a drink, and he came up with that great idea, and they went back to the round table, and that was probably the focus and why we got a shitty ass 24 simulator right now, because they're worried about the streaming. They don't care about deliveries. And I look at it both ways. I look at the cup half full. Also, by streaming, you prevent the piracy that has been rampant throughout this damn community for so many damn years. But at the same time, now who's paying for it? The diehard simmer who's fucking probably spent about $20,000-$30,000 from, if you go all the way back to 90, 95, 98, this guy's probably spent probably 30 to 40 grand on airplane scenery every time a sim comes out. But yeah, something's got to be done about this streaming, or this product will suffer.
I'll just say that if they do that though, what they will end up doing is making the same mistake that they made with Flight, and that is the whole reason it didn't work. So if they go with this full streaming thing and cut developers out, watch, people will go back to 2020 and stay there until
or P3D.
And this is the funny thing about 2020 is I assume at some point Microsoft can just be like, well, we'll just cut the servers, because as much as those things are streamed, are locally stored, a lot of that is streamed. So they could try to force you to get to 2024. That's the only difference this time with the mistakes they made with Flight.
Well, it's Microsoft, and they're going to force us to go to 11 before too long. Those of us who still are running stuff on 10, and who knows about 12 and 13 and so on and so forth. And Lotto, you said something I wanted to address just a little bit earlier, that you do think that 2024 is going to be great later. I got to tell you, I really don't know. I think that this may be a bigger boondoggle for them to deal with than, that 2020 wasn't broke. Granted, it started out slow, and I was on X-Plane 11 for a long time before I finally, bit the bullet and went over to 2020 and was super pleased with it. But I also waited an inordinate amount of time to do that. I can't even tell you. It was probably a couple of years anyway. I haven't been on 2020 nearly that long, really, in reality. So, I'm just wondering, is this a product that they've overthought? They've gone to the wrong market with it. Who is their market, like we've said a couple of times? Is it the younger, 12-year-old game player, or is it those of us who really love flight and love flight simulation? Als, what do you think on that point?
I mean, given the fact I said the best thing about this new sim is being able to customize your character and walk around, it's definitely towards the gamers. I think ever since it's even been able to be used on Xbox, I was saying this on stream today. When you release a flight sim on Xbox, they have to pay for liveries. They got to pay for every mod. They got to pay for liveries. They got to pay for livery. You got to pay for liveries. It's colors on.
Yeah,
an
it's
airplane.
it's gonna end up turning into like and Owls can attest to this. I'm a Call of Duty player, right? And back in the day, if you go back to original CODs like Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth, you didn't see this battle pass, this nothing like that. It was just work for the crap by playing the game. Play the game, you unlock the stuff, and then you're set and good. Now we've got battle passes to purchase where you can unlock other stuff. You have to play. It's a play to win type stuff, to where you have to play the game, buy the battle pass in order to unlock a certain thing to use. And it's like, do you imagine logging into Microsoft 24 one day and say, oh, you want a Spirit or you want a Delta 321 Neo livery for the indie builds? You got 20 levels to work up to, my guy. Yeah, you have to land a 747 in St. Bart's with a landing rate of -120 in order for this to get unlocked. If that happens, God is my witness. Microsoft 24 will be removed from my PC as quick as I can say the word uninstall. And it's just,
Well, get ready, buddy, because it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's just when it comes to the portion of why, I think that's the biggest question. And CST's answered this a few different times. It's all about the money. And if that's really the case, it's going to be that's going to be the detriment of the flight sim community for the avid flight simmers that love aviation and do this as a hobby. And I can promise you, Laminar Research's numbers are going to skyrocket if that continues.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I might even think seriously about X-Plane 12.
Yeah.
If that absolutely no other choice. CST, we were talking about this off air before we started, and I think maybe a little bit after. But you're wanting to do more in the entire gaming community with your racing, with your truck sim. You talked about the possibility of getting bored with flight simming, and you want to do different things and everything. And I think that that's a real important point to make. But for those who are like myself, I'm not a gamer. Guys, I am not a gamer. I don't care about playing these other games. And absolutely no desire. I love to fly the airplanes. I love to learn what I'm doing. I love to navigate. I love to, practice landings over and over again. I love to get on VATSIM and feel like I'm doing something. I tell you, every time. Today I flew the 777 from LA to New York City, and then on down to Miami. And of course, while the airplanes, and CSC, you're going to frown at me for this, but I'm off fixing my wife's car and doing other stuff while the airplane's in the air, and I come back and check on it, and I finally got Navigraph, guys. Hey,
yeah.
Proud of you, Jack. Proud of you, Jack. Get off that crap.
Yeah.
There you go.
It took me to do that.
Boy, Jack.
But
Attaboy.
hey, thank you very little. I'm here all week. But here's the thing.
Thank you very little. That's a good one.
Anyway, I think that I'm not going to go to 2024. Not even going to think about it at this point, unless some drastic things change. Because 2020 works. It does my flight stuff the way I want it to. It does it well. I don't have to fix and futz with stuff all the time. There are just too many things wrong with 2024 for me as a flight sim enthusiast. I'm not going to go to 2024,
Right.
and I have no desire to do the other stuff.
Jack, to that point, I mean, I've streamed 24 the last 3 days, and one of the most avid questions that I received in my chat is, have you uninstalled Microsoft 2020? And you see all over the YouTube space now with these big content creators and stuff like that did their quote unquote last flight in Microsoft 2020. And to me, I was like, why? 2020 is still very much so a viable simulator to use. It's not like people are talking like Microsoft 2020 is Microsoft 98 now, right? With the release of 2024. And it's absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion, to be quite honest with you. I was literally just watching Bluebird just came out with an update video on their 757 and what to expect with 2024 and all that kind of stuff. And they said, we are very much so still planning on releasing this aircraft for Microsoft 2020 exclusively to begin with. And then a free upgrade will come to 2024 later on down the road. So guys that are in my chat and Captain Jack's chat, and those that tune in later on down the road that catch this podcast and their algorithm or whatever, Microsoft 2020 as of November 23rd, 2024, 4 days after the release of 2024 Microsoft, is still my full-time simulator. As a content creator, I have just been creating content on Microsoft 2024 just to gauge what the sim is going to be doing in the next couple of months. And in my personal opinion, I've said this a plethora of times on the sim in and of itself, is the sim in its current state is very mediocre. And that is the word that I've been using, is mediocre at best. This is not a flight simulator. This is a general aviation bush flying career mode game. When you start getting into the hardcore airliners and start seeing some legitimate things come to the passionate flight simmers like myself and EJ, Mark, Lotto, so on and so forth, that is when we can start to consider, okay, take the rest of the stuff that we've been discussing out of the window for right now with the streaming platform. Are they going to start charging third-party developers to bring their product to the game? This, that, the third. Throw that all out the window. Let's say it just stays the way it is. Whatever's baseline with the game for right now gets streamed, and then third-party development can be its own exclusive download like it has been for however 20 plus years with flight simming, right? If it stays that way, then I see in about 6 to 8 to 12 months in that time frame that 2024 will be a much better simulator as a platform to run when it comes to content creation or as moving forward with the future of the sim. So I could see at that point potentially swapping over, but right now Microsoft 2020 is still very much so installed on my rig. It's still very much so going to be my full-time sim, and it's still very much so going to be my full-time content, right? 2024 we'll swap into it every once. The career mode's a lot of fun. We've been having fun with that, whatever. But going point A to B like we do on our streams, checking out the airplanes and stuff like that, ain't nothing we can really do about it. I flew the 321 yesterday, and to say that aircraft is a disappointment is an understatement. You know, it works, it does the job, but you know, it's
exactly what Indie Builds is. They're not good. My apologies. I don't care. Hate me. I don't give a you know what. That's how upset I am with Indie Builds, because they are all about Indie Builds. Indie Builds can make some great sceneries. I have no doubt in my mind. Actually, they lag a lot for anybody that's under a 40 series. So you know what? But in the end, they cannot build an airplane. My apologies. Everybody's waiting for this A350. I'm going to be the first one to say sorry. I know that you guys like the A330. I think Aerosoft did a better job.
Well, let's be real now. Okay, let's be a little bit realistic here. Okay. All right.
Hold on. No, I went to go get ice cream.
Can we forget?
Aerosoft's better than the. No, Mike, shut up.
No, I didn't buy the damn Aerosoft. All I'm saying is that they trusted everything on Indie Builds. That's all I'm saying. If you guys, that's fine. I'm gonna have haters here. I don't care. I don't think Indie Builds. I don't think. I'm telling you right now. I don't think Indie Builds is that good of a airplane creator.
Well, what you're forgetting is also they have a product such as the A300 as well, and the A300 is a very, very viable aircraft.
Besides that one,
right? It's an Indie Builds aircraft, Lotto. That's what we're saying, right? You have to understand the level of development that they did for the 330 and 321 is the level of money that they were allotted by Microsoft to develop this aircraft, right? When it comes to the 350, which is going to be their own independent product, that's going to be a different story, just like the A300. The A300 is an independent product of Indie Builds, right? The 330, 321, that is a contracted product, right?
I don't think that's a very healthy way of thinking about that, because if I'm Indie Builds and I sell something at Walmart, only because I'm selling at Walmart, it's not going to be subpar. It doesn't matter. It's like, okay, well, I'm an Indie Build. I got my brand on this box. However, the product that's in this box is going to be better because it's sold at Best Buy.
I disagree.
The one that's going to Walmart, it's not going to be so good, but it's still going to be the same Indie Build product.
That's called great
How
value.
do you do that? How do you make an aircraft like the A300 and then turn around and make a shitty A320 and a shitty A330? How do you do that? And put your name on it. Right?
Well, hold on. Because I don't know.
Exactly.
The A300 was the A300. Does it work on the Xbox?
I believe so.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
All right. My argument was going to be that when you try to make the things compatible for Xbox, I think that's when it loses the quality, which is what I think.
They're
capable.
They're capable of doing it. They just chose not to do it.
Well,
right?
And here's my argument.
That goes to the if I am trying to portray quality, then I don't care if it's a base plane that I put in my name on or a payware plane that I'm making for Indie Build itself. Whatever product I make, it's gonna freaking be quality. I don't care what it is.
Again, at the same time, and here's where I'll disagree with this, right? Indie Builds is not making money off of these aircrafts. They were given money.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Time out. Before, but I understand they have a contract.
What's a contract, bro?
I understand they have the contract.
That's cash money in their hands. That's not what's gonna sell. That's what's sold already.
Guys,
it's like a salary job. I'll take that any day of the week before commission.
Allow me to finish my thought. Okay.
Sorry.
When it comes down to when I say they're not making money from this, it's not that they're not making money from the sale of the sim. Of course they are. They're a contracted team member of Asobo and Microsoft, right? They're still going to make money off of it, but they're not going to be making the type of money that they're going to make off the sale of the 350 or the A300. That is their own independent product that Microsoft can take zero revenue from because it's their product, right? So when it comes down to the development, they were given a time frame. They were given, and I'm not trying to justify the.
What's the time frame?
From
how long is it? How long has the Indie Build A320 V2 been out? Why is it still shit?
Well, again, and when it comes down to it, I understand that when it comes down to it, the 330, 321. I think too many people are so upset with the state of the sim that they're not actually looking into the aircrafts in and of itself. Because in my personal opinion, the 330 by Indie Builds is very, very good. The 321 needs some work. I feel like they spent a lot more time on the 330 development of the 330 than they did the 321, because the 321 is very much so in the same state that their 320 is, right? But the 330, in my personal opinion, is a relatively viable airplane. Is it the best that Indie Build's ever done? No, I don't think anybody that would sit here and argue that'd be dumb. right? But it is a viable airplane, right? To sit here and say that it is worse than Aerosoft's is a ridiculous statement. Ridiculous statement.
I didn't
because-
say that.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying the fact that
I didn't say that.
Yeah.
But however, if you put the name Build on something, in my personal opinion, put the Build name on
I
something.
get that.
Don't
I
make
get
it
that.
shit.
I get that. I
Right?
get
You
that.
notice
330 might be
notice
an
that-
up and coming good aircraft. It's you consider a stock aircraft, whatever.
I get that.
It came with a sim. Only because it came with a sim, it doesn't mean it's not an any build product. It's still an any build product. And I got it at one time. Did you know the right brake doesn't work?
That wasn't. It works fine for me.
No, it doesn't. I guarantee you it doesn't work.
It worked fine for me.
So listen, how much money you want to put on it right now? Right now.
What mod? What are we talking
The
about?
A330.
Right now.
The A330 we're talking about.
Launch the sim
The
on
INI builds? What are we
launch the
talking-
sim
like,
right
what
now
about it? What about
on
it?
stream. The Builds 330, the
But
right
I-
toe brake. When you push the brake, the pedal goes down, but the wheel does not brake.
I had zero issues with braking on my landings with that aircraft. I'm
I'm
just
not saying on landings. I'm saying if you try to do differential braking to 230 aircraft, the right brake does not work.
I'll test it, but from what I noticed when I flew the airplane, I had zero issue with either, and I do differential braking
you-
during my taxiing.
Okay.
So EJ, you were
I put
trying
money
to
on it.
EJ, you were trying to make a point.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if you notice, I think Any Builds is also letting us know that there is some limitations that they get on how much control they have to develop these aircraft. When you look at the variations or the models in MSFS 2024, and you look at who designed it, it says Asobo / Any Builds. Like Asobo definitely played a large part in the development of that aircraft.
Yeah.
And I'm on Mike's point of view here. I definitely think there's a reason why that A300 is so much better and so much different than these products that were made with the partnership with Asobo. So I think that when we have this A350 that doesn't have the partnership with Asobo, we'll see something along the lines of the A300 quality.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no doubt in my mind.
And
Yes.
someone in my
All
chat.
I'm saying is I never even doubt in my mind that was going to be the case. What I was trying to say is if I'm a reputable company, I'm not going to put my name on shit. You see what I'm saying?
I can
I'm not going to put my
understand
name on a subpart on something that I feel is not up to my standards, right? And when I get into a plane like the A330 that we have on 2024 or 321 or the 320, it's not up to any build standard. Why would you put your name on it? That's all I'm saying.
Because Any Builds
Now-
isn't going to be the one maintaining this airplane. It's going to be Microsoft and Asobo.
That doesn't matter. Their name is still on it, so everybody's gonna scream at any bills. They're not gonna scream at a solo.
Whether their name
But
is
anyway,
on it
whatever.
or not, they were contracted to make the
I wanted,
planes.
I wanted
right?
to go back. I wanted to go back to what you said earlier about the people that said that we're gonna uninstall Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, or all the clickbaiters out there. Lost flight in 2020. Uninstalling 2020 tomorrow. I put those people in the same category of those people that said if Trump wins, I'm gonna leave the United States. They're still here.
To each their own. Jack, we kind of got off on a little bit of a tangent there. Obviously, there's some differentiating opinions here
yeah.
between
Yeah,
aircraft.
I
and stuff
have
like
a
that.
little bit of, I don't know.
That's great. That's part of what this is here
We want to
for.
make it fun too.
It's entertaining as hell.
Ask me. I want to know from everybody here, and even chat can say it. I know that I sound foolish. I'm just not a fan of them. Right? That's it. If they prove me wrong with this A350, I'm more than welcome to be like, okay, hey, you know what? I'm wrong, and I'll go ahead and make videos of their A350 all day, bro. You know what I'm saying? But the number one thing that the A300 is it the top 3 best airplane in Microsoft 2020 right now? Would you consider
No.
that a top 3 airplane? Absolutely. So that's exactly my point.
Well, it depends. It depends on who you talk to. It
You
depends on who you
guys
talk to.
That is a
making-
subjective opinion.
I understand that, and it's my opinion. You have yours, I have mine,
Yeah.
right? I have no doubt on my mind. Like I have mine. My opinion is that I think Microsoft will be better later. Not right now. No. I'm very disappointed. Why? Because the community's hurt. You know
Okay,
what I'm saying? I'm
time
hurt.
out real quick. Mark, my man. You better sit here with your popcorn.
No,
just
wait.
kinda-
Hold on. Time out.
That's me right now.
No, wait, Mark.
Seriously.
Mike, I got Isaac over there. I think he's talking about 2024 on Isaac Johnson on Jack's. He said something about it's freeware.
Well, and that
Isaac, hold on. Wait, time out. Isaac, let me explain something. nothing in Microsoft 2024 is freeware. Absolutely nothing. All right. There's people that have paid up to $200 for that sim.
Yeah,
If
but
you think that
also-
anything in the sim, if
$60
you
sim.
think that anything in that sim is freeware, you need to really think hard about what you're talking about, because when you pay $200 for a sim, you have paid for the AnyBuild 330. You have paid for the AnyBuild 320. You paid for
Nobody's
everything
paying for the
that
extra
is
either.
in that sim. All right, nothing is free in that sim. As a matter of fact, I think you're probably paying a premium price for what it is.
Well,
So
but at the same time, you
really,
can argue
when somebody
then,
says, "Oh, but it's free. It comes with a sim."
Yeah,
Well,
but-
you paid for the sim, my dude.
but again, at the same time, you could make the argument and say, well, then we could consider Fly-by-Wire a payware project because you need to buy the sim in order to use it, right? You know what I'm saying?
Are you high, dude? No, I don't know what you're saying. There was a freeware
That's-
project. It was developed by a
Again,
a company as a standalone aircraft for the sim.
I get
It
that.
didn't come with the sim.
I get that, but the aircraft, look, 380, that's not a standalone aircraft of the sim. That is a.
Wait, let me just-
now time out.
Yes, yeah,
Time out.
yes, it is. It's a standalone aircraft.
When it comes down to it, at the end of the day, we're gonna have differentiating opinions on this, right?
It's okay.
And
You're
that's our,
comparing apples to bananas, but okay, I see what you're trying to say, but no, you're totally off. You buy the sim for $200, a year package. It comes with a certain amount of planes. If you spend less money, those planes are gone, meaning you didn't pay for those planes. So
Yeah.
the fact that people say, "Oh, it's freeware," it's not free. You're paying
Yeah,
for it.
But at the same time, the 330, 321 come with the base level of the game. You don't have to spend $200 on the
Yeah,
game.
which
to get it.
which is the base. How much money? How much you gonna pay for the base version of the game?
60,
$70?
70 US dollars.
Yeah, in that 60, 70 US dollars, there's money to pay for that
I
plane.
get that. I get that. Okay.
Yeah.
Regardless of the points, at the end of the day, when it comes down to the level of production on the 330, 321, hell, the rest of the airplanes that are in the sim, right? The new ones that have come, the 7.4, the Max is atrocious. If you guys want to compare apples to bananas, fly the Asobo Max and then come and give me your opinion on the any builds and tell me which one you prefer. When it comes down to the production of these aircrafts, I think we can all say,
Oh, but it's freeware. It's freeware though. It doesn't matter. Free.
okay, CSD, let's.
Hey, Mark, let me get your input
That's what
on
I'm trying.
this.
I'm trying to get Mark in here, man.
Yeah, Mark, let's go to you. What do you think?
It's fucking free. It's not like you're gonna pay for this thing. It's free.
I'm enjoying the conversation right now. I'm gonna hold my opinions. I saw good points from both sides. Kind of agree with CST. You know, whether you get contract or not, a contract. I mean, look at a government contract. We spend billions of dollars hiring private companies to produce stuff that's subpar, and then our sons and daughters go out to fight with this subpar equipment. It's kind of the same thing that's kind of
I
going
get
on
that,
here.
Yeah.
You know, Reebok is sold in Walmart now, but Reebok is also sold at, you know, major reputable brands, but it's the same Reebok across the board. So I think what CST is trying to say is, you know, if you're any bills and your bar is here, just because a Sobo says, hey, fix this plane for me, you shouldn't stoop to their level. If you can't do it to the level that you're doing it at, you shouldn't do it at all.
Yeah, I get that.
And one more thing, because I have on Jack's stream, Plane Studios Aviation Gaming, I have no doubt that they're gonna make underneath the cargo bay. It's gonna be so nice. Take a look at all the stuff that they built on there. I have no doubt that they showed us this, right? But so did Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. They showed us a sim that was ready to go. They said this is going to be ready. And what was it? It was all fake, right? So what did we get in the end? Just nothing but issues. I understand it's the beginning. It's okay. We can wait, right? I mean, a lot of people are upset, right? I'm going to be the optimism here and say, yeah, I'm upset now. That doesn't mean that I'm going to turn my back. It's like if it's my son, right? I'm not going to be like, oh, my son stole something. I'm still going to love my son. I'm going to want to whoop his ass. But in the end, I'm still going to love him even when they do bad things because that's who I am. I respect, you know, Microsoft. I love them, you know what I'm saying? Because they've been such a great part of my life, you know what I'm saying? Without this damn sim, that's why me and Jack are the same. Like, we don't want to play anything else. They talk, let's go play Fortnite. I'm like, no, I'm still flying. Hold on.
Yeah, and again, just kind of like put the lid on this topic, because we all have differentiating opinions on this, but I think we can all say that, for lack of a better term, we're all still relatively disappointed with the state that the sim and the aircrafts that come with the sim are in, regardless of the amount of money that we paid for the simulator in and of itself, right? The only aircraft that I've been able to personally do a point A to B flight with zero issues was the 330, and that's just from based off of experience where I'm forming my opinion. You guys might have had different opinions and different experiences with the airplane, which is what has caused you to form the opinion, right? But to me personally, there is not a single aircraft in that sim, regardless if it has any build's name on it, Asobo's name on it, working title, so on and so forth. Does not matter to me. Every single one of them needs work, right? There are issues with the 330. There are issues, like one wing flexes and one doesn't. You know, CST's having issues with his right brake. I'm definitely going to go and test that to see if that's accurate, right? At least on my sim, because if that's an issue, that's a big fucking issue, right? But for lack of a better term, Jack, I think we have kind of opened up the can of worms with the lack of not the lack of, but the extenuating disappointment that is going around the community right now in a vast majority of subjects. So yeah. For me personally, you know, my experience in this sim so far has just been subpar. You know, like I said, I think the best experience I've had so far has been career mode and multiplayer with the guys. You know, me, CST, Lotto, and Owls, and a couple of other dudes. We were just flying around, just doing BS, man. There was no sense of there was no sense.
That's fun because it's the boys, bro. That's fun because you know what? When we got home after work, you know, we left work on a Friday night. You know, the beer was beerier, the cheese was cheesier, the weed was weedier. You know what I'm saying? We were ready to go, bro. So we're trying to have fun. You know what I'm saying?
Drink beer and fly an airplane. You know, there you
go.
But Alice, what do you think? What do you think, buddy?
I mean, I think it sucks. They definitely could have done a lot better in releasing this thing, but I think you got to take a step back. I wasn't here at all for 2020's release. I don't even think I was in aviation again because I took like a big break from it. So I don't even think I really even saw how the sim was day one. But just guessing what everybody's been telling me is this is relatively the same of 2020's release. They haven't really, it's the same thing. It came out, there's no mods, all the base planes suck, this and that, it's just bugs. So I'll say I'm not happy with what I have now. I will say I find some things neat and cool, but
we know that.
I'm not excited and be like, whoa, this is amazing. So I think I'll give it a little time, maybe a few months. Definitely haven't uninstalled 2020, but I think I'll give it some time, let it, you know, marinate in the pot, see what they got going on, and then I think come with my decision for the sim.
Sure. Well, you know, and I'll ask the question before we wrap up too. You know, what are you guys going to be doing primarily in your streams coming up? 24 versus 2020. By the way, I want to get totally off topic for just a moment and congratulate our buddy Noah, pilot Noah, that we all know. He is flying his solo on Monday. He's doing his solo.
Noah?
Congrats,
congratulations, Noah.
Of course I don't know.
Yeah.
Noah flies? How did I not know that?
Yeah, he's in flight school, man, in college.
I did not know that.
So Noah, a shout out to you on that. Johan made a comment earlier. This may be a little bit out of context at this point, but you know, payware versus freeware. I mean, the bottom line here is, and CST has said we don't really get any freeware as far as that goes. But you know, the A380 came out from fly-by-wire here just recently and all that, and I know that some of you guys really enjoyed flying that in your streams. And how do you foresee, you know, we talked about the future of this, and that's a big cloud for me, that the third-party developers are going to have to go through all these hoops 2024. CST, of course, it's all about the money. That's all anything is these days anymore. But do you foresee that this is going to really detract and make the flight sim community, or those of us anyway who may want to be just a little more serious about it, do you foresee that essentially killing it in any form, shape, or manner? Mike, what do you think?
It's not gonna. After you say safety, I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's all right. Mike, what do you think first? Go ahead.
For me personally, this is I feel like I'm back in, you know, 2020 when Microsoft 2020 released. You know, I was super excited for Microsoft's next iteration of the sim because I was such an avid Microsoft user back in the day in 98, 2004, and FSX, so on and so forth. So I find myself back in the area of why and how are we going to progress? Because for those, obviously everybody knows when I first started my YouTube channel, I was exclusively on X-Plane 11, exclusively, and this was September of last year, right? And it was my lack of knowledge and lack of understanding of how much 2020 had progressed from its initial release to jumping back into Microsoft 2020 late last year. So realistically, I've only been flying Microsoft 2020 full time for a little over a year. And I find myself back in that state of, why do I have to wait such an exuberant amount of time to swap onto the next level of this simulation? Because back then, when 2020 initially released, I was flying FSX. I wasn't even on X-Plane 11 at the time. I was still flying FSX. And when 2020 released, and I saw how atrocious the release of that was, and how long it was taking third-party development to come into the sim, and this, that, the third, I was just like, you know what? There is a sim out there that is heavily developed and that has catered to the actual avid flight simmer, and that was X-Plane 11 at the time. So I decided X-Plane 11 over Microsoft 2020. So, and I find myself back in that same state. It's like, well, the next sim is here. Not happy with it, so I'm just going to stick with what I got until I see something progress and see something a little bit more promising for the future of flight simming and my YouTube channel, you know? And as a content creator, I think anybody in here that does content knows that you have to think about that kind of stuff if that's something that you're trying to pursue. You know, if you're just a regular content creator that's just kind of doing your streams for what you want it to be, and, you know, playing whatever you want, this, that, the third, cool. But if you're an avid flight simmer that wants to build a flight sim community, you know, unfortunately, the realistic answer on this and the reality of it is at some point you will have to make the transition if you want your channel to progress any further, because that's what people are watching, right? And that's why, ultimately, why when I sat back and had that conversation with Owls about why I was having such a lack of engagement on my sims when I was flying or on my streams when I was flying X-Plane 11, Owls said to me straight up, he's like, because no one wants to fucking watch X-Plane, dude. He's like, you have to get on Microsoft. And Owls can attest to that, man. It was a very simple conversation. He's like, swap to Microsoft to help you get it running, and promise you things will start to grow. Look where we're at. You know, I think that's a very realistic thing to look at when it comes to content creation. Now, as a flight simmer, if I wasn't doing YouTube and I wasn't doing none of this and that, the third, man, I'd have been on the phone with Microsoft refunding my money, and I would have just been continuing to fly 2020 until 2024 progressed to a point where I feel that they deserve the $130 I spent on the sim. So when it comes to a content level of where I'm at with the sims, 2020 is still very much so going to be my full-time sim. We're still going to fly the Phoenixes and the PMDGs and the iFlies and so on and so forth, especially with Bluebird coming. Bluebird is exclusively releasing for 2020. Mind you guys, it is coming to 2020 first. It is not coming to 2024 first. That is big reason why 2020 is going to continue to be my main sim, is because there's still a lot of development coming to that sim, and there will continue to be more development for that sim in the future if Microsoft doesn't get their heads out of their asses and fixes 2024. So I could see, like EJ said, I think I could see a lot of people going back and saying, nah, I'm going back to 2020, bro. I'm cool. So on a content level of things, 2020 will still very much so be my full-time sim, and we'll do a couple of streams here and there on 2024, just progressing in the career mode and checking out updates to things if things do get updated. I think that's kind of a realistic thing to do, but being a full-time content creator on Microsoft 2024 in and of itself right now, I think that content's going to die pretty quick. So that's just for me personally. I think everybody here is pretty much so on the same boat when it comes to, we have our 2020 the way it needs to be and the way we want it to be, so we're going to continue to fly it. And whenever things start to progress, I said this on my stream yesterday, I say by the end of the year, I hope by the end of this year, Microsoft will at least have their heads screwed on straight and say, okay, we messed up. We're going to kind of bring things back to the way they need to be, because they're still going to make money regardless of what they do. Whether their platform is streamed or whether it's a downloadable content thing, they're still going to make their money. I mean, Lotto literally just said it. There was 2.9 million purchases of liveries on Microsoft 2020 on the Xbox platform alone, right? That's $14 million in revenue on a fucking paint job, right? So you think about the rest of it, you know, I'm hoping that Microsoft does not change the way third-party development is done. I'm hoping that, you know, within the next 2 to 3 months, we'll see a little bit of a clearer light and a brighter light when it comes to the development of the sim and the future of it. and we'll go from there, you know, because at this point in time, it's not something that I see as a feasible option to recommend to people as a full-time flight simulator. If you're just a GA bush flyer and want to go get your PPL and dress up in your khakis and your pilot shirt, like Owls was dressed, he was dressed in fucking orange shirts and a captain shirt with epaulets on earlier today. It was hilarious, you know.
That was good.
You know, if that's what you want to do, just a game, cool. This sim is for you, bruh. But if you're the full-time flight simmer and, you know, rely heavily on third-party development, that's going to be my biggest concern with the sim is where is third-party development going to go for us? Because I feel that all of us rely heavily on third-party development for our sim experience to be the way we want it to be. So, and for those that are in my chat, do appreciate you guys being here. I know we really haven't been reading chat too much. It's kind of the thing here on the podcast. I really don't engage too much with the chat unless there are questions in there. If anybody here has questions for the panel that we have here today, please feel free to post them. We've been going for about an hour and a half, so I don't see that we're going to be ending too soon, but I think this is going to be concluding here shortly. So if you have any questions for any of us, please just make sure you put it in the chat and make sure you notate who you want it to be directed to, so that we can go from there. And yeah, that'll be it for me, unless we're moving on to other subjects and stuff like that. I'm cool to keep going if you guys are.
Yeah, we can go for a while yet, and I want to get to CST's comment on all that. But Skyfall is in the Captain Jack chat here, and he said, with all the advancements and knowledge gained from 2020, I don't think 2024 should have been released as a separate product. And I agree with this. Everything learned from 2020 should have been used to ensure a fully polished simulator from day one. Gone are the days when we accepted mediocre planes to fly, especially now that we've experienced how these aircraft should really perform. And in the current economic crisis, it's hard to justify investing in what feels like a simulator rewrite. I totally agree with that. I think that they should have used 2020 as a base. So CST, you had some comments on what Mike was just talking about, and what do you have to say on that?
No, we were talking about developing and all that stuff, and at the end of the day, I think they're just gonna conform to it. I mean, we're all gonna have to. I think kind of Mike kind of said the same thing. 2020 is not gonna be there forever. They're gonna unplug it here sooner or later. Sure, they're saying there's gonna be years to come of whatever. However, they might still keep it plugged in here in the next 3, 4, 5 years, but at the same time, they're gonna stop updating. They're gonna stop pushing world updates and so on and so forth. So, if that's the thing with all this, the streaming stuff, right? With the photogrammetry and streaming, and you got to be online to play. They decide when you are done playing. They just unplug it. They just get rid of the 2020 from the servers, and you're done. You can't fly that sim anymore. You're done. And I think that's the same thing that's gonna happen with 2024 whenever 2028 comes out, right? They're gonna say, hey, we got this brand new thing. It's gonna be great. It's fantastic. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2028, right? 2024 is gonna be around for a little bit, and they're gonna unplug it. They're gonna force you to. It's almost like Apple. They force you to buy an iPhone every year, right? They stop pushing updates to that iPhone. Next thing you know, you're gonna have to learn. You're gonna learn the way, right? They're gonna teach you the way. You're gonna need to start paying for liveries if you want liveries. You're gonna need to just conform with it. And if you're an avid flight simmer, then you're just gonna do it. You're just gonna pay for the livery like a sucker. You're just gonna do it, right? You're gonna pay for that Delta livery, else you're gonna do it. There's no other way to do it.
Deliveries, yeah, dude. I'm seeing some market right now. Those things freaking fire.
Where they at?
So yeah. Like I said, at the end of the day, that's just the new way forward, right? And the fact that there's a lot of people out there, there's a lot of flight simmers out there that are like, they're praising this, right? They're not saying, Microsoft, we don't like this. They're actually glazing it, right? Oh, this is going to be fantastic. This is going to be great. Well, if that's what you want, then if you keep saying this is going to be great, this is going to be fantastic, then don't complain next year when they're charging you for a livery. All right? I don't want to hear it. Don't complain next year when they're charging you to stream a Phoenix aircraft off of Marketplace. I don't want to hear it. Okay? This is what you want to glaze? This is what you want to like? Pay up, sucker, because you're going to have to start paying for everything, including the t-shirt for your character.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you this, guys. We've got some questions in my chat here. Epic Boss says, and this is for anyone, if you don't have a Game Pass and can get the game for free, is it worth buying? Question for anyone.
For me, if you are a avid GA flyer and you like general aviation and you like being able to fly low and slow and go from point A to point B in a Cessna or a Beechcraft or something like that, this sim is very much so a viable option for you. But for those avid flight simmers that like commercial flying and being in the 30 to 35,000 feet range, going A to B, then, you know, I wouldn't say that it's necessarily worth the money to spend right now. There are a lot of bugs with the sim right now that are just, that should not have been a part of the sim. And this is what I've been trying to say. I got a lot of comments in chat that are that I'm trying to respond to put a point on those that are in my chat as well that are asking questions. I had one say, when we're beyond spoiled and Flight Sim 2020 took years to mature, and we're complaining a week in on 2024. I didn't necessarily say that 2024 is atrociously bad in its entirety. There are good things about this simulator, and there is potential in this sim. I think we can all agree with that. I think it'd be ignorant to say that there's no potential here. But when it comes down to it, the way that this sim was marketed, the way that this sim was advertised, the way that this sim was just built up to be the most advanced level of simulation that a flight simmer has ever seen, to load in and see it in the state that it is currently in, that is what we're bitching about. So it's not necessarily the fact that we're mad at the simulator and how it works as a sim. We're mad at the fact that the sim is very much so in a tech alpha state and not a full release state. And I just paid $130 freaking dollars for this program. That's what we're complaining about. You know, you don't sit here and polish a piece of garbage and sell it for $50 fucking dollars on the side of the road when really it was a $4 piece of pizza that someone threw into the trash. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, when it comes down to what people are saying here and there, I've said it multiple times on my streams. People are asking me why I'm still streaming if I think it sucks. I don't think the sim sucks. I think it's in a very mediocre state, right? What state is it in though? I load up and it fly. It looks great. I paid $70. Well, Jimmy, personally, and I'm not trying to attack you or anything. I'm not trying to go at you or say anything negative. So I'm saying this with all due respect. It does not sound like you know too much about the back end of a simulator and what goes on in the background and what we look at as content creators and what we look at as full avid flight simmers. It sounds like you kind of just load in, go into your plane, and now I could be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong, but when you look at the sim in its current state, the fact that I have a 4070 12 gigabyte graphics card, an i7 12700K processor, 32 gigs of RAM, I've got a pretty decently good built PC, and the fact that I can't get above 40 to 45 frames per second on the ground and textures are still loading in blurry, you know, even Owls has a beast of a computer, and when he landed into Atlanta, what did your runway textures look like today? That shouldn't happen for a product that we're paying in upwards of $200 for. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, go to the Grand Canyon, you'll be fine. But besides that, everywhere else is going to be a little bit of an issue.
Right.
But that's the biggest thing that I see from everybody. I know that everybody wants to put their 2 cents, and I appreciate you guys with all the comments on Mike's stream and on Captain Jack's stream as well. The number one thing, like, we are diehard. I am a diehard Microsoft Flight Simulator guy. I am extremely, I even said it in the beginning, I am extremely thankful for them for providing me with a copy. But it's, of course, I'm making more of a joke, right, to make it a little bit more lively here on a stream on this beautiful Saturday night, where I'm saying, hey, I appreciate you, Microsoft, for, you know, I didn't have to spend $130. But there was people that spend $200. $200 is a lot of money. There's people out there that make $90 a day. Think about that. And that's in the US, right? They're making minimum wage, right? And they want to come home. They want to enjoy a sim. And in the end, what did they get? They got something that they were not. And I get it, because like everybody does this, you know, it's advertisement without a doubt. I mean, my Instagram has my best shots. It doesn't have everything else. It's not, you know, I'm heavily editing it, right? But that's my joy, right?
Yeah.
That's my passion, that I love to show off the sim in its best nature. And is the sim the potential? I have no doubt. I said it since the beginning, right, Jack? I mean, you even said it. Hey, although I don't know if there's going to be, I'm telling you, there's going to be great potential. The sad thing is where it's going, right? Where like there's no more developers that can do it for free. I think this sim in 2026 is going to be by far amazing. Like we're gonna see it at its peak, right? But we're gonna lose all of the small things, all of the creators that are coming or developers that are coming in and really looking out for the community because they have to do it inside of of the marketplace, right? That's the only issue that I have with it. But I understand where you guys are coming from. I love Microsoft Flight Sim. I like love it. I don't care. They did what they did now. I'm still going to I'm still gonna promote it. I'm still going to be on my Instagram promoting it, my TikTok, my YouTube, right? I'm going to start doing live streams with it. I don't care. Like I'm going to because that's what I love. That's my passion, you know?
Yeah. And
I also want to say
Go
that
ahead,
we're
EJ.
kind of jumping the gun on this completely because we don't know what they're going to require to be in the store.
right.
What's happened so far are the things that are Microsoft proprietary. They have decided to do that with. I hope that changes because a lot of the freeware stuff was based off of that proprietary stuff. But I will say this: I don't really have all the information yet, but I just got some feedback from the VETICALSIM dev team that with that new update, a lot of things that were isolated to FS 2020 are now in FS 24, meaning that, for instance, like I used to be able to run them at the same time. Don't ask why I would do that, but you used to. You can't do that now because they've started integrating. And one of the devs right now with their testing is they're saying, one, now VATSIM works flawlessly like it was intended to work. And
In
two,
24?
in 24.
Wow.
And two, what you're starting to see is that, and they're testing it right now, so I can't answer any questions about it, but they're working with the fly-by-wire, and they say the 380 is working completely in 24 now.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know the accuracy of it. They're having a bunch of fun right now testing stuff, but it already looks like, if this is the case, that we'll start seeing things that are in 2020 have a more easy path to be into 2024.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
wow.
this is what I'm saying, just to kind of, because there are a lot of questions in my chat, Jack. I do apologize. A lot of questions in my chat as to my personal opinion on the sim. I never once did I say that 2024 does not have the potential to be a fantastic sim, because I very much so. I said it on day one when I first streamed it, and I've said it continuously throughout the streams that I've done on it the last 3 days, that 2024 very much so is going to be the sim of the future at one point. In its current state, it is not, right? And I have no doubt in the fact that us as avid flight simmers who rely heavily on third-party development to make the sim what we want it to be, the experience we want when we load into our computer, that third-party development is going to help us get to there a lot quicker than we expect, as EJ just pointed out. So we're all passionate about this, and I think that's a lot of the reason why these arguments kind of, or not, I don't want to say arguments, but these discussions turn slightly to the heated side, because we all have very subjectified opinions and differentiated opinions.
Real money being put in play.
Right, exactly.
Mike.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why people paid a lot of money.
Right.
If they expected 200,000 and 2 million showed up, 2 million possibly paid for the $200 version. Not
Right.
2, but maybe 1 million paid for the $200 or $130 version. That's a lot
Right.
of money.
Yeah.
My apologies. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, no,
dude.
and I agree 100%. And I think that's where a lot of people's frustrations are coming from, is just the sheer amount of money that they have spent to be in this simulator, and that it's just not, it's a disappointing purchase, right? It's like, for me, personally, when I bought one of my first cars, I had shopped for a very, very long time, right? And one of the cars that I went and looked at had a little bit of a higher price tag than what I was intending on spending. And then I was so excited because I was like, this car is worth the money, right? And I went to the dealership and I test drove it, and I said, this thing's a piece of garbage. Why is there a price tag on it? Why is this ridiculous price tag on this car? And I didn't buy it, and I was disappointed because the way that the car was advertised and the way that they made it look and they made it sound and they made it, oh, this car is so cool and does all this and that, the third. And I went to it, I was like, this doesn't do anything that you said it did, right? That's kind of how I feel. It's like, we got all this hoopla at the expo about this being such an amazing sim. It's going to release phenomenally. It's going to be an easy transition. You can just drag and drop your community folder. It's going to be sim on day one. And that's just not the case. So as a consumer, that's where my disappointment lays. I try my best to be as real as possible when it comes to these issues. And the realist in me is saying 6 months. I give it 6 months before we're sitting here in this beautiful panel room with all these amazing people.
I think Dan said it good right there. When we say it has potential, that's not even the point though. And I get it. Everything has potential, just like Dan says.
Right.
But that's not the point. The point is that we were expecting to get a half-baked product that has potential. We were expecting to get a $200 product, and we didn't get it. That's the thing. That's where my frustration comes from. It doesn't come from, hey, the sim is sucking now and it's gonna suck forever. There's no doubt in my mind that Microsoft and Asobo are gonna eventually get it right, just like they did with 2020, right? But we're talking about our opinions, right, on the state of the sim today, not tomorrow, not next month, not in 6 months. I'm talking about today. What were we expecting today, and why were we expecting? Why did we have such expectations? Is the reason is a result on how they sold it to us between the expo and the streams, and they were selling us this magnificent product and we didn't get it. So why is it that now I'm the bad guy when I come onto a stream and I say this is stupid, this is garbage, it shouldn't be this way? Now I'm the bad guy, right? Well, CST, you're so negative. Why are you saying this? It has lots of potential. That's not what I bought, my dude. I didn't buy potential. All right. So if you want to hear people glaze and say, "Oh, look how great the clouds are. Look how beautiful. Oh, this handle's so good," then go watch somebody else that's getting paid by Microsoft. There's plenty of people out there that are glazing this subpar product. Okay. I don't have a filter. I'm gonna tell you the way it is. Today, the sim sucks. Tomorrow, it's probably gonna get better. That's not the point, though. You understand what I'm saying? That's not the point. The point is, it wasn't supposed to be this way, right? They should have learned from the past 6 years of developing a simulator, and they should apply those lessons learned to the new simulator, but they didn't. They sucked. The release date was a disaster, right? The updates are not coming anytime soon. Developers don't know what the hell is going on. Some developers are still saying, I still don't have access to the SDK. I can't do anything. Like, what is going on, Microsoft? What is going on, Asobo? So don't come in the chat and be like, well, you guys are so negative. No, we're not. The truth hurts sometimes. I get it. But if you don't want to hear the truth, then go watch Swiss 001 and he'll show you how to land a 747 on an aircraft carrier, and he's gonna tell you how good the sim looks. Like, come on, people, let's be realistic here, right? You want to be real, or do you want me to tell you, oh yeah, guys, it's gonna be great? Give him a chance. Give us Asobo. I know they took $200 of your dollars, but give him a chance, fellas. Come on.
Give
the
him
6 to 12 real ones are going to see you as the phony as well, right? Like,
anyways, there's
guys,
no doubt in my mind. There is no doubt in my mind that 2024 is going to get better. But that's not the point. It should have already been better than 2020, but it's not. It's not.
like,
it should have been better.
Yeah, it's like going to a fancy restaurant and expecting filet mignon, and they bring in a hot dog out. Basically,
that's exactly the point. That's what the point is.
Yeah,
That-
and chat, I see a lot in chat right now that it's the point that we're making. I don't think anybody in this panel, me, Owls, Mark, Lotto, Jack, CST, and EJ are all saying that there is zero potential with the sim. I don't think any of us are saying that, period. I think we all, as avid flight simmers, as content creators, and even those that work in the development side and VAT sims, so on and so forth, very much so understand that time is the game right now, right? But what we're saying as a consumer, for someone that goes out and purchases something, that is what a consumer is, as a customer.
Mhm.
We should not have to wait for something to be in the state it was advertised to be in when we spend the money on it. That is what we're saying, right? And I will agree, out of the box, 24 has run a lot better than 20 did when 20 initially. There are good and bad things. There are pros and cons, right? But as a consumer, what we're all saying is $200 is a steep price point for something not to be what it was advertised to be. That is what we're saying. Now, we can all sit here and agree that probably in 6 to 7 months, we're going to look back on this conversation and say, man,
there's been some vast improvements here. Hopefully, right? Hopefully that is the case, right? And we can all sit here and say, oh wow, this sim is running beautifully, man. I wish this would have been the sim on release date, right? Well, time will tell. That's what we're saying, right? Yeah, but it was in that state for a couple of days, really. Well, not necessarily. Microsoft has known that this sim has been in this current state for a while now. They just decided to release it in this state in a hope that in some time that it will be in a much better state than it is now, right? And potential is high. And we just unfortunately we just got to sit and wait. You know, that's, as a consumer, that's all we got to do. And if you choose to not participate in the 2024 sim era, that's the beautiful thing about the freedom here, man, is you don't have to. You know, you don't have to fly the sim. Is it disappointing? Yeah. But go ahead, Mark.
You know, there's a famous person that out there. I got two quotes for you, and the first one was, "It must be the money." Second quote that I got for you is, "Speak with your wallet."
Yeah.
There you go.
You know.
Yeah.
Speak with your wallet. If you know, especially people that pre-ordered, hope you learned the lesson. Don't pre-order unless you're fully committed. But it's up to you to give Microsoft or in the Sobo, you know, time to fix this.
Yeah.
And if you do give them the time, they don't fix it. Speak with your wallet. Don't buy anything else. The more money we dump into Microsoft and the Sobo, the more they're gonna keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
That goes for Dell too. Half-released planes. Look at all the half-released planes we've gotten over the past year.
I was telling people. I'm sorry. I was telling people. About a month or so ago, people were asking me, "Hey, I haven't bought 2020 yet. Should I wait for 2024 to release?" And I told them, "Hell yeah, wait for 2020. It's going to be much better." What do you tell those people now?
Yeah.
Do you tell them to buy 2024 or do you tell them to buy 2020?
Yeah.
Right. And there's people in chat asking, General RC is asking, what's wrong with the sim today? All right, let me start with the number one issue. There's some people in the world, mostly European, they still cannot access the sim.
Yep.
That's number one, because of the server. Number two, rendering distance, ridiculous.
Yeah.
Pop-in textures, ridiculous. Planes with no sounds, planes with not working components such as brakes, APUs, engines, pop-in textures. This is not. The list goes on and on, dude. It goes on and on. Multiplayer doesn't work. It's spotty at best. You cannot turn off AI traffic and have multiplayer at the same time. If you turn off AI traffic, you will not see people in multiplayer. Why is that a thing? AI traffic has nothing to do with multiplayer.
Right.
I was reading some stuff today. That's why. Remember, we were having trouble seeing each other the other day on multiplayer. That's because they didn't do it right. Right? They coupled multiplayer with AI traffic. So if you turn AI traffic off, you don't see multiplayer and vice versa.
Yeah.
So that needs to be fixed. There is so many things that are wrong with this sim, General RC. I don't mean to bust your bubble, dude. If you paid for the sim and you are enjoying it, more power to you, my dude. Okay? All those people that are saying, "Hey, I don't see nothing wrong with the sim. I love it." Great. Outstanding. I am happy for you. Me, having flight sim, having being a part of a flight simulator, whatever number you want to slap beside of it, probably all of them, right? Since before HAL's FS was even thought about, okay? I see a lot of things wrong with the sim, okay? And it goes with everything. Looks, there's a lot of things that are good with the sim. All right. I told many of these guys here in the podcast with me today. I like the lighting. I like the colors. I like the water. I like the new ground textures. I like all that stuff. However, how you enjoy the ground textures and the water and all that stuff when you have pop-in, missing textures, blurry textures, all this stuff that just happens that shouldn't happen when you pay for a top-tier product like it was supposed to intended to be, right? So that's the thing. If you, like I said, if you made the purchase and you're happy with it, more power to you, man. Enjoy it. But I honestly think that one of the best ways to fix 2024 would be to get rid of the stream cloud.
Yeah. I think
that would be
that is people's biggest complaint right now is they want the sim to be
That's
able
the
to just
biggest thing.
download it. They don't want it to be streamed.
know
They
what?
don't want they just want
I don't care, and I don't care. I don't care if it's four terabytes. I'll go buy a 4 terabytes SSD right now and go download the whole damn thing. I don't care. Let me download the whole sim. If you don't want to make it just a strictly download, you want to stream it or whatever, give me the option to download it. Right? I still want that option. Let me download it. That way I don't have to deal with your servers. Right? I don't think that's gonna happen, but I think that would be one of the best things that Microsoft and Asobo would do is to just let me download the sim, dude.
Yep. Owls, I know you're streaming TikTok and Instagram right now. What's going on, bro?
I don't know, man. It's like no. Sorry, I got a little bit carried away with that Delta look. I was starting to plan some stuff with it. Anyways, I don't know. It's like I would just say most of you guys already said what I was thinking this whole time of how they should, what they should have done, how it should have happened. But I think the one thing they could fix is I agree with CST. Let me download my stuff. I think that will instantly eliminate every single thing of issues that we're having right now. Let me download my photogrammetry like normal. Let me download my airplane so I can have them in the sim, and let me download at least a sim that works in the first place with multiplayer. I think I'm going on a sidetrack, but me and Mike and Mark and all of us were hanging out yesterday and we were playing multiplayer. Why does that's what CST said earlier. Why does AI traffic have to be on for me to see a guy on multiplayer? Like, it's just stuff, small things like that. It doesn't make sense to me why they just say, oh yeah, they're going to release this. But I think one step they could do that would help tremendously is just start by letting us download stuff, which I think they already have implemented but not ready yet, which again is why was it released like that. That's what I gotta say.
They're going to have to because of the backlash that it got. It's a 1.2 star sim right now. If you guys didn't look at everybody
Are
in
you
this world,
serious? No way.
go look at the ratings. I have no
On
doubt in my
Steam?
mind. Go look at the ratings. I don't know about Steam, but Microsoft, I saw
Yeah,
1 star.
Microsoft, both Microsoft and Steam. If you go look at the ratings, it is ridiculous. bro.
Mostly
It's-
negative. Wow.
Listen, the number
Yeah,
one thing, that everybody looks at now, like imagine, right? I call a plumber, right? What am I gonna do? I'm
Look
gonna
at
look
the
at his 5-star
ratings,
reviews, dude. That's what I'm looking for. I want to buy a home. I'm gonna look at a bank, right? Yeah, what's their review? That's what everybody's doing, right? So Microsoft's got to catch up because you're not gonna be able to sell the numbers that you got to change something quick. I love them to death. I will keep saying I love them to death. I really do, right? But in the end, they better change it quick.
I mean, I think that's the way the majority of us feel, right? We're gonna stick with it, obviously, being Microsoft guys and Flight Sim guys. But going back to the car conversation that Mikey was having before, I compared 2024 to me ordering a Ferrari, get it delivered to my house. I pop the hood and there's no engine in it. Hey, but it's a Ferrari. It's got great potential. All you gotta do is put an engine in it, right? But wait a minute, I paid for a full Ferrari. I understand, but it's got potential. You can put an engine in it. So yeah, it's.
I personally, and I'm looking at chat right now, and I think the general consensus right now is a lot of the things that we're complaining about right now, or not happy with, or disappointed about, is the fact that the stuff is being streamed. If you have a terrible internet connection and you were looking forward to Microsoft 2024, I am so sorry. I am so sorry that you had to go through it, spend that amount of money not to be able to play the game that you spent money for, because everything has to be streamed with your internet service, right? I think if Microsoft as a team, right, as a panel, sits in their office tomorrow around that big freaking rectangular table like a scene of Suits or something like that, and they look at each other and say, what can we do to fix this? Get rid of cloud streaming. I think if they get rid of cloud streaming, our problems will go out the window. Genuinely, I think our problems go out the window. From there, the rest of the sim can be fixed over time. But the cloud streaming is 100%, in my personal opinion, what is causing the most issues with this sim right now. Because
I mean, that was the biggest. Yeah, that was the biggest issue on launch day, right? Was the servers, the cloud streaming.
It's like you got so many people accessing one server, or a plethora of servers, however many they got. Even if you have gigabyte internet, Starlink, whatever it might be, you could have NASA internet, and you'll still have issues playing this game because of just the sheer traffic amount on their servers, right? They get rid of cloud and go back to a traditional download size. I'm sorry, guys, personally, for me, if you want to spend $150 a month on good internet just to play one game, by all means. But I would rather take that $150, go buy a 3 terabyte SSD drive, install it on my computer, and download my stuff. Personally.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that's the number one thing with me that I'm not even gonna consider 2024 in any shape or form unless that is done away with. And guys, I want to take a moment here and mention, for instance, Pipeplot FS says my internet's pretty bad. The game doesn't run well, especially closed. My game today, but honestly don't think wanting to retry streaming it anymore, and that's a concern. I don't know what you guys' internet speeds are. I'm very fortunate to have gigabit fiber here in my place, but there's so many people that may even be on a metered connection, and I don't think they took any of that into effect either. By the way, let me say this too. Please give Mike a like and a subscription on his channel. You guys that are watching over there, and I've noticed we've had quite a few viewers. I've got 16 likes over here tonight. I would appreciate you guys hitting that thumbs up button for me. Those that are watching on my channel, as far as that goes.
I just had someone in my chat go, let's go back to downloading terabytes of ortho like the X-Plane days. I'm like, personally, Jimmy, as an old school X-Plane user, I'm good. I'd rather just download 120, 130 gigabyte worth of a game and call it a day, right?
I
But
still get flashbacks of seeing my terabyte, my drives at red saying 10 gigabytes.
I had a whole terabyte drive dedicated.
Change really, if I can add this, change really scares people, right? Look what's happening, right? We're in the AI times. We don't realize where things are going to go in the future, right? And how bad it could possibly turn, right? Because AI could possibly run the world, right? In a negative way. Can it be positive? Of course. I liked what and I think Aviation Gaming, I know on Captain Jax, you said, hey, you guys, I want to say thank you. This is therapy for you. We appreciate those nice comments,
we thank you, man.
We really do.
Yeah,
and then there's somebody else on yours, Mike, that I really liked. There was Mr. If I can find it, because Mr. Holder, he said something about reinventing the wheel. And what I liked about it is, why reinvent the wheel, right? Why not add pieces to it, right? And I know the company that I work for, we do this all the time, right? Where we're a multi-billion-dollar company, and instead of focusing on like, how do we add something? How do we add a product where we can just add into it? Because we know we're only at 60% completion. But it seems that the multi-billion-dollar companies, this is how they bring out products. Now I'm realizing, I see it every day in my own personal job that I do, right, on my 9 to 5 that I do, where we have a product that's 60% done, and we're like, let's send it out because that's the way we're going to get it to 100%, right? But in the end, it's kind of like, it might work out in your favor with some things, but other things, people are going to do it better, because nowadays with technology, with ratings, right, people are going to look at that and they're going to say, that's not for me. This is not a company I would want to invest my money into or put my money into. Because later, I'll wait for later, but for that later, somebody else might catch up and do it better than you, and then now you're at the bottom, right? Now you're going downhill.
Well, and that's part of what we alluded to earlier, Lotto, that I think you make an excellent point on. It shouldn't have been released in this form. It was pre-sold as a finished product. It was pre-sold and hype built up and videos done that it's going to be great. It's going to be beautiful. You're going to be able to do all this stuff that you never dreamed of before. And, I agree with the fact, like we said earlier as well, like Mark said, vote with your money. And I would if I were you and I was this deep into it, I would go ahead and make every effort to get a refund at this point. And myself personally,
I know Flight Streamer did.
Yeah,
he got it.
Yeah,
he complained about it on YouTube, got a whole bunch of views. Said it on stream here that actually some of the representative from Microsoft actually went in and unfollowed him. I mean, that's a little bit harsh, right? Like, it's like if I'm upset about somebody that I truly love and now you're not going to talk to me anymore, that's because I stated my opinion. That's where we're losing the what this country would, CST, what Mark fought for, right, is our freedoms, right? We have the right to say, hey, I'm not happy with this, right? We did it all the time with poor Captain Sim. Boy, oh boy, they make great outside looking aircrafts, I'll tell you that much. But everything else is crappy, right? But we did the same thing to Captain Sim. People are still going to buy it. It's going to be the same thing in this situation where people are still going to love, Microsoft Flight Sim. It's not going to change, but You know, that's the thing, is just making, I don't know, just they need to update something, and it's not going to happen for a little bit,
Yeah.
but when it does, they're going to have us be able to say, hey, here's 100 gigs for you to be able to download. Right?
Yeah.
They're going to, in moderation, you might have to pay for it. You might have to pay for those gigs.
Yeah, and I'm sorry that happened to you, Flight Streamer. Guys, if you don't know who Flight Streamer is, for those of you that are in my chat and in Captain Jack's chat and even on the panel here, if you guys are not familiar with who Flight Streamer is, he's a phenomenal content creator on YouTube and TikTok. I met him at the expo, very, very humble and upfront guy, you know, awesome person. And the fact that, you know, he stated his opinion, got his money back and all that kind of stuff, and is now having issues with people from Microsoft is just absolutely appalling. So make sure you guys head over to his YouTube and his TikTok and give him a follow, drop him a comment, hit a like button on his stuff, join his streams because he does phenomenal content. EJ, we've been sitting here talking for a while. I know that elaborate mind of yours has been cooking something up, so I'd like to hear from you as to what you think of what we've been talking about. Do you think anything stream wise with Microsoft 24 is going to cause any hiccups for VATSIM in the future?
So if you're familiar with Xplane used to do something in order to create frame smoothness, and that technology essentially changed the simulation rate, and it would cause all sorts of issues for Microsoft. That came to an issue where if you were using Xplane, you would just automatically get kicked from VATSIM when it started changing the simulation rate. With VATSIM obviously relies on an internet connection, and it relies on you being able to maintain that connection. If we get to the point where rendering and streaming slows down the ability for or over compromise your computer, the internet connection is so taken up bandwidth wise that you can't maintain communication on VATSIM, yeah, sure, it'll be an issue. Other than that, I don't see it being a large factor for VATSIM, but there are issues when we get into how we're going to deal with third parties again. And so we'll all just have to kind of wait and see how that goes. FSLTL and Alpha India Group, who make those AI planes, that's what VATSIM relies on for it to be able to render traffic. If that's going to be something that it needs to go get from a Microsoft server, don't see that working very well. So there are definitely a lot of things that the dev team has brought up into, like, this could be a huge concern, this could be a minor one, and right now they are testing it all right now, that since that release has come out. But overall, it seems like there should be a very simple way for everything to run smoothly, as long as we don't see that internet connectivity hog become a thing. Because if you can't maintain the ability to communicate on VATSIM, you violate the VATSIM code of conduct, and you will be kicked off the network. If the sim starts doing things like slowing down or pausing or stopping in order to complete a rendering process, that too will mess up the flow of traffic, especially when you're in a heavy area like London Heathrow, where they are expecting you to take exactly this amount of time to make that procedural turn, and so they have the next plane ready to go. And if those types of things do not work correctly, then yes, it'll be an issue. But all to be determined, all to be seen. If that,
and I gotta tell you, EJ, I flew Amsterdam to Paris yesterday in the new 321 round trip, and I gotta tell you, there was a portion during my stream on my computer where I was dropping below 20 frames a second at 30 some odd thousand feet going into Amsterdam. It was incredible. I was like, why is this happening? Because even in 2020, I'll see a minimal frame drop for about a second or two, and then things will go back to normal where the rendering comes in and this, that, and third. But I feel because so much is being streamed and so much is loading in at the same time in such a very dense area of the world, such as Amsterdam, London Heathrow, hell, Vegas, Dallas, even Dallas Fort Worth is probably going to start seeing more traffic, because the Dallas scenery has been vastly improved in Microsoft 2024. That is a big positive in my personal opinion. The Dallas and Paris has been vastly improved in Microsoft 2024. But I feel that in those dense areas where you have so much air traffic, when you start seeing VATSIM traffic, whether you use FSLTL or AIG, or all your mods at the same time loading in. This where add-on linker is going to be a huge asset to these simulators. When you have so much loading in at one point and it's tanking your sim's performance. On my rig with a 4070 and an i7 12th gen, you know, with all cores unlocked, I was like, why is this happening? You know, and obviously it's smoothed out over time, but I don't want to get kicked off the network. You know, I don't want to have a note next to my name that says he has an unstable connection, you know, so that's a concern of mine.
And I do want to also point out, from what I understand from the dev team, because I'm by no means the expert on this stuff, but they've been explaining and when I say the dev team, I mean the VATSIM dev team. They've been kind of explaining some of these things as we go along. And one of the things that was also pointed out to me is that some of these stutters we get, which goes to CST's point about how poor the release has been, some of these stutters are because they're still using testing stages of things, why it doesn't take advantage of your CPU the best. Right now, the DLSS file, not the one for FrameGen, but just the general DLSS file that pretty much allows your graphics card to take the best use of the game, it's running the version 2.4. To put that in perspective, FS2020 in its current state, if you don't use the DLSS swapper, is at 2.7. And the current latest edition is 3.8.
3.8.
All that to say is that right now, for whatever reason, why they've chosen to do that, these things are not running.
DJ, I'm so glad you brought that up. No other game has it under 3.0. No other game, right? Not big games, right? Not big games like Microsoft. No other game has it under 3.0. So that's a very fantastic thing you just brought up right now.
Yeah. So that change in itself will make a large change to the amount of increased frames, better use of the technology you have. I don't know why they're testing it with that, but that's something to watch, because it certainly scared me when I hop in with my 4090 and I'm getting these horrible frames compared to 2020. So that definitely might just be a temporary thing. I hope it's a temporary thing, but at least we got to get it up there to 3.0 at least.
There's going to be some.
My PC back. I just bought a 9800 X3D and a 4090, and Mike's like, "Calm down, all."
Yeah, I literally had said to Lotto in his chat yesterday. Lotto was going.
The only
man,
thing
Lotto
that did
was
it for
going
me
through
is that
it.
I went into 2020 and I was running 200 frames with FrameGen mod and 100 on DX11. I'm like, oh, I'm not touching anything right now, you know.
Yeah. I'll tell you, man. Lotto was going through it yesterday, trying to get this sim working, and he was like, man, I'm getting ready to just take my computer back. And I was like, whoa, time out. It just released. Give it some time to optimize. You did not just spend $3,500 on a computer for no reason. There are other things you can use it for besides just. You still have 2020. Go back to 2020. It'll probably look phenomenal on this new rig, right?
Oh, and it does.
To answer a couple of questions in chat, Mr. Holder says, do you think they will start loading updates from 24 to 20 like the scenery or new planes A330? Mr. Holder, absolutely not. That's them just taking steps backwards and rolling down the hill backwards. None of the content from Microsoft 2024 is going to come to Microsoft 2020. If they do that, they are actively going to be shooting themselves in the foot, because they're just going to tell people, hey, just go buy 2020 because the same thing's available. JR says, can you post all the panel member names? JR, top left is going to be Mr. Captain Jack Flight Sim, the host of this show. Really do appreciate Captain Jack, my man. Denver Broncos are playing phenomenal, by the way. Bo Nix made a 100% turnaround, bro. I'm so happy to see that. Right above me is going to be Mr. CST Gaming, the legend himself. To the right is going to be the VATSIM Caribbean division. EJ Davis, you're not the vice president anymore. What is your role again?
System Vice President Americas.
System Vice President of the Americas, the VATSIM Caribbean division. Mr. Fly with Mr. Fly with Lotto, good old 500,000 followers on Instagram. My guy over here, Mr. Lotto, and then over here is the up and coming Owls FS.
Owls FS is the name. Microsoft Flight Simulator is the game. If you don't know, now you know. Welcome, guys. Appreciate you stopping on this fantastic evening.
And right below us, he's been a little bit quiet, but that's Mr. Major Mark, a U.S. Army active duty member, and then CST is also a Navy veteran. So thank them too for serving our country, something that I did not have the guts to do. But those are gonna be all the and we have differing panel members each week, but the main are pretty much the 6 that are here, and then Major Mark pops in every once in a while, and then we have special guests here and there. So we do appreciate all you guys being here. If you have not done so already, please make sure you smash down the thumbs up button on this stream today. Also on Captain Jack's side, he is also live over there. So make sure you head over to Captain Jack Flight Sim and drop him a sub and say what's up to him over in his chat. along with mine. If you're new here and enjoying the content, enjoying the discussion, we do this. So I think we're going to try and start doing this a little bit more frequently than we have been, because it seems that people really do enjoy this live discussion versus pre-recording and uploading. Dewan says, nice to CST. He says he's about to enlist in the Navy. So awesome to you, Dewan. Hope you do well. No, I should be going, but go and play Stalker 2. Great release and great. Nice, King Bob. I appreciate you, man. What else?
Jack, real quick, what is your thought process in all the conversation? I know you had your 2 cents in the beginning, but what you've heard so far, what do you take from everything?
Well, that's the thing. Lotto, thanks for asking. I appreciate that. Yeah, we probably might go ahead and start towards wrapping up, I think, for tonight. I think we've covered the subject very well. I think all of the avenues we could possibly discuss about this are pretty well covered. Lotto, for me, at this time, at least for the foreseeable future, I will not be even thinking about going to 2024. I tend to take a long time to upgrade software anyway, because I get something, I get it to where it's working the way I want it to. And I run the engineering maxim: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So for me, I'm not going to invest this kind of money into it at this time until they get it fixed. I'm very disappointed in the fact that they essentially, as I said a moment ago, sold they pre-sold basically a product in a fantastic finished form, and it was nowhere near that. Honestly and truly, they're going to have to kind of work to regain my trust a little bit before I want to put that kind of money into it. 2020 works for me. It works beautifully. I love it. I'm having fun with it. I don't see putting myself through all of that kind of stress at this point. So for me, 2024 is an absolute no for the time being, but we'll watch it carefully. So that's what I think.
It's extremely stressful. I still can't bind these damn Airbus throttles. Oh my god.
CST, what do you think? Overall final opinions here. What do you think?
I'm just hoping for the best, honestly, because I want to obviously, I want to see 2024 be what they told us it was going to be. So I'm hoping they pull a miracle out of their heads and make it work. Whether it's keeping it streaming or whether it's letting us download a portion or regions, whatever it is they want to do. I hope they figure it out quick, because I much rather be on a new sim than an older sim. So obviously I put the money into it, so that goes to tell you that even though I'm sitting here bitching about it, I do believe in it. And I want it to be good. So yeah, I mean, if you haven't bought it quite yet and you're expecting this wonderful flight simulator, I would say maybe wait.
Yeah.
If you're not completely, and at the end of the day, it's your money. You do with your money whatever the hell you want to do it. If you want to go and buy it and be disappointed, go buy it. Or you might be one of those guys that buys it, and they're like, "This is fantastic," right? Who knows at this point, right? Because I hear people that are like, "Hey, it's fantastic," but at the same time, you really don't know what these people are doing in the sim, right? It could be somebody that just gets on there with an Xbox controller and Control E and goes, right? That's not what we're talking about here. So if you're just the average gamer, then it's probably a good game for you. But if you're a flight simmer, then I will probably hold off.
Okay, very good. EJ, your final thoughts on the subject at hand?
Well, I think we'll just have to be patient with them and give them time. I think everybody's frustration is largely due to everybody had frustration with the release. That part is already behind us now. It was horrible. No change in the past. But as we look forward to the future, it will eventually, well, likely it'll take the place of FS2020 if they work with their third parties to the extent that they worked with them in FS2020. I'm excited for where it's going. As soon as this is finished, I'm going to go test out the 380 to see if it actually does work. I do want to move into 2024, but it's going to take time. It took me more than 2 years from the release of 2020 to actually use 2020. I do believe that we're going to see a quicker turnaround here. I'm
Yeah.
hopeful for it, and I'm hopeful that Microsoft and Asobo and the team there continue to develop and listen to this type of feedback, because at the end of the day, these are the types of individuals who will continue to use their product versus the kids who come in for a little bit, have their fun with the experience, and then move on to the next thing. So please, Asobo, listen to us.
Well said. Well said. Mark, you're up next here. What your final thoughts on the subject tonight?
First off, I'd like to thank y'all for having me on tonight again. Appreciate the invite, impromptu invite. But yeah, lessons learned, I think, here with both the consumer and the developed publisher, however you want to call it, is you know, one, deliver on your promises. Two, if you can't deliver, I have no problem with you pushing the date back.
Yeah.
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 Especially with the money that I'm paying for a product or service. It's just like if I go to the store and buy something, I expect it to be the right product, the quality, and all that good thing. So, guess I'm talking to Microsoft, Asobo, whoever you want me to talk to. If you're gonna say something is gonna be ready out the box day one, that's what I expect when I'm paying my money. Otherwise, I'm gonna keep my money and invest in something else.
Yeah, very well, very well. Let's see, Lotto, did you want to, and then I'll go to Al's and Mike, and we'll do our usual around the horn for what's coming up. But Lotto, do you have any final thoughts on the discussion tonight?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me as well. I appreciate everybody that's commenting, and very nice to see that. I think everybody wants to go through the same thing, right? They hear us and they hear the frustration, and it's probably, there's somebody that's probably doing it in front of their simulator, right? Frustrated with it, just like we have been, right? The only thing is that we're expressing it in a way, and I think that's why this gets a lot of popular votes and a lot of people engaging in it, because they all feel the same way, right? And I know that it's going to be okay, but in the end, you know what, the damage has been done for some, right? And for others, I know that we hope that everything is going to change, but Microsoft, Asobo, they need to listen to these types of things and say, and okay, I see what they're saying, I see where the frustration is, and how can we change it fast? And even coming out and just saying something, I think what Mark just said right now was beautifully, but hey, I would rather have something delayed, right? I've already got ARPC, DLSS swapper, so I can make 2020 looks just as good as 2024, right? Like that's exactly what Mello said earlier, like, hey, the lighting's better. Yeah, that's just ARPC, man. If you actually look at ARPC and what it does at night, it's the same color, that light blue. The sun, it just looks like it's more still daylight even when the sun sets a little bit, so it's okay to just say, I think you're getting more respect from the community by saying, hey, we're not ready, guys, and we're going to go ahead and wait until possibly February 24th, whatever, right? But in this case, they didn't, and it's okay, because I understand with the holidays, that's when they make the majority of their money, right? Not only do they win, developers win, Wing wins, Thrustmaster wins, right? Everybody wins, Next Level Racing wins, so like all of these people win in the end, because more people
Corsair
are going
wins.
to Corsair wins, right?
Corsair.
God, I love Corsair. I really do. I got a PC full of Corsair.
Yeah, and to
But,
that point,
I
Lotto,
greatly appreciate you guys, and I know there's certain things, but just like with my frustration, I know I said some off the wall stuff, but I'm frustrated as well, and I feel that
it is what it
gonna
is, man. It's all good.
Right, and there's going to be things that are going to frustrate me as well. And for me, it's just that simple. It's like, I just want a good-looking airplane, a good-looking sim, right, with a little bit better realistic modeling, right?
Because you rely on that. It's
dynamic.
understandable for your opinion to be formed like that,
Like,
because you rely on that,
So
right?
it's like when I have to sit here and spend 3.5 hours to like fix a shot, a 30-second shot, it creates where like now I'm not having fun anymore, because I just want to produce to send it out next, because people are asking, really, can you do the beluga, can you do this, can you do that, right? So like I want to be able to make my followers happy, or other people that ask me happy, or myself happy. But in this case, it's okay. I think in 6 months, Mike said it, I say in a year to 2 years, we're going to look back and say, whoa, this is truly the best sim. I'm just hoping at that time that we have competition, even if it's X-Plane, right? I look at X-Plane content all the time. That's the craziest. I don't fly it. I look at it all the time. Why? Because you have to respect the competition. You always have to respect. You know?
Someone just said in my chat, imagine this panel picking it apart X-Plane. Now, to be fair, Jimmy, I was an avid religious X-Plane 11 user before I swapped over to Microsoft 2020. Okay, so trust and believe, I still have a place in my heart for Laminar Research and X-Plane. I just think they're a bit behind the wall right now, but that's a separate conversation. But yeah, Lotto, and
behind a brick wall.
yeah, exactly, right. And I can agree 100% with Lotto, and that's where devs get their respect. You know, if they say, hey, hold on a second. Mark said it perfectly. Like, look at Bluebird, man. That is such an anticipated aircraft. And they said, nah, man, if it's not ready, we're pushing it into 2025. Too bad, so sad.
I respect it.
Cool, man. Hell,
I respect
give
it.
us the product we expect and we'd be cool. Hell, push it to 2026. I'll still buy it when it comes out.
Okay, all right. Now.
Hey, I get it, but okay. But anyway, Owls, my man.
Owls, you're up, buddy. You're fine.
I mean, I knew this was coming. I already told everybody I'm not excited for this simulator. I wasn't lying. I said I'm not ready to make the setting change. I'm not ready to re-optimize. I'm not ready to wait for add-ons. I set this freaking 3 weeks ago. That's why I didn't pre-order the sim. And what do you know? We got a sim, and it's exactly how I said it was. But I mean, we'll give it some time. We'll let it do
The
its
avatars, but the avatars.
thing. Now, don't get me wrong. I do like my avatars. I'll be a little Timmy, drinking up all the milk. But hey, okay, it's fun. I enjoy the people. But at the same time, I already said this. I knew I'm gonna have to sit here for days on edge. I took 5 days to optimize the sim. I'm gonna have to get all my add-ons added up. I'm gonna have to figure out what works, what doesn't. What do you know? That's what I've been doing for the whole
Man,
week.
my chat is coming at me. Guys, I didn't really mean push the 7.5 to 2026. I was just making a hypothetical point. Okay, let's relax.
Yeah, you're dragging it.
Well, my opinion is they should have waited till 2026 and hey, say, guys, we're calling it 2026. So let's before we wrap up here, let's go around the horn. Mike, Mike, do you have some final thoughts on the subject before we go around the horn for what's coming up?
Wait, I know what he's gonna say. Well, it's been a good podcast, guys. We have a lot of disagreements, but what I do know we can't agree on is aviation is.
You know what I'm talking about,
awesome.
Jack. We're just let Alice do it, man. We're just let Alice have it. We're just let Alice do his thing. Man, you gotta know he's got his warm sippy cup of milk and that fucking robe sitting to the left side of him. He's about to go.
And from the virtual flight deck, I am out.
I'm out of here.
Nah. But guys, like I was saying, this if you guys are hesitant, I'm gonna agree with CST in this. If you are hesitant about Microsoft 2024 right now, there are a plethora of content creators that are continue to push out content on this sim and provide news and updates as to what is going to happen with this sim and what is happening with the sim in real time, to include myself. Owls, don't know if CST is going to be creating anything on it, and a plethora of other people on the YouTube space, Twitch, whatever it might be. So if you have not purchased the sim and you're not happy with what it looks like and all that kind of stuff, just keep your money for right now and just watch some content on it and see. You'll be able to make an educated decision on whether or not you want to purchase a sim. But it's been an awesome conversation, man. I think we had some differentiating opinions, and you know, some out-of-pocket stuff was said, but I think that's kind of that's become the normal here on this podcast, which I think people are starting to enjoy. I had someone in my chat say, please, for the love of God, keep CST around because we need more people like him. I was like,
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
Love him or hate him. Listen, I love him,
Yeah.
of course. So, but love him or
I
hate
hate
him,
him.
you can't.
He's real, bro.
It's-
He's real.
It's facts, bro.
It's real, bro.
In the end, that's all you need in life. I promise you, if you're a youngster here, like 18, 16, what you need is the real ones, bro. Because the real ones will tell you the BS. I want people to be like, nah, bro, that's not good. Oh, thanks, dude. Because in the end,
Yeah.
it challenges me. Don't be oh my God, he told me no. He told me
You
I'm
should
not
hear what
gonna,
CST tells me in VCs. It's not very nice.
And people have the
That's not very
audacity to call
honest,
people have the audacity to call me Unk. Nah. The CST is the real Unk of this chat, man. He'll tell you how it is and not feel bad about it, bro. Which respect.
I'll join a VC at 9 a.m. in the morning. This guy's already telling me about something. Like, oh, God, here we go.
But
Yeah,
anyway,
speaking of which, it's nearly 1:30 at
Yeah.
Al's house.
I
So,
think,
Al, we'll let you. We'll go around the horn here for everybody. But what you got coming up? What's happening on Al's channel, Al's FS here on you? What you got?
Well, I got Waves making me a Delta livery that just came out, so that's probably gonna be coming up soon. Doing some Delta Toulouse livery ops. That's
for the
probably
love
something.
of God,
That's
man.
something.
Sigma.
What else? Oh yeah, I'm going to Dream Arrow again tomorrow with another YouTuber named Rapenza. We're gonna do a shared cockpit in a full motion sim. That's gonna be a cool video to make.
Wow.
And I got a bunch of lessons scheduled for this week, so hopefully I'll get some IRL flying videos posted up.
And
too.
just tell them they owe me, bro.
Oh, I'm telling you, I gotta do my flight first though, Lord. I gotta.
No, get your flight, but then tell them, hey, I want to do.
He's gotta
Yeah.
ingest what they're giving him for free, and then tell him, hey, what you said about this guy is bullshit. By the way.
exactly.
No, I don't care. They can use my stuff as long as they bring me down.
Right,
And I'll fly
right.
that. I'll fly that 7-3 with you.
I got you.
Hey, and once again, too, best wishes to our friend Noah Miller here.
Yes, Noah, my man. We gotta have you back on, bro.
Oh yeah, he's taking his solo on Monday, I believe. I'm so excited for him. So
Best of luck to you,
Lotto,
bro.
what you got coming up, buddy? What's going on in your world you want to let people know about?
Was that for me?
Yeah.
Instagram, looking to keep on growing, right? I'm at 44 right now. How can we get to 600,000? I was hoping 1 million. Definitely some more 2024 short content, very, edits. Love my little stupid music that I choose, but you know what? I'm different, right? And that's what I love about it, because I create my own type of content. And you know what I've realized is that I used to get very frustrated with this, but it's like it's even people at my work are like, hey man, I saw this other guy because I follow you. He does kind of the same stuff you do. I'm like, yeah. So like when people follow suit, that's when you know you're doing something right as well. I'm hoping now I got another PC. Either I'm gonna go with a 2-stream PC or possibly just this individual one and doing some streaming. I'm gonna start on Instagram. Maybe
Plug
about
your
4
IG
times
real quick,
a week.
Lotto. Chat's asking.
Not
Plug
4
your
times,
IG.
not 4 times a week, but 4 times a month. My apologies. But that's basically it, man. So that's basically it for me. And then definitely on YouTube, but I need to get better, right? I don't want to, just like we talked about it, I don't want to be subpar, right? I don't want to not. It's okay if I mess up. That's going to be the best thing, because you're going to be able to laugh with me or even at me. I don't care, because in the end, it's going to get something, right? It's going to get a reaction. And I live for that stuff. If people get a positive reaction or even some type of good reaction when I do something, I love that, because that makes my day. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically what I'm going to be doing here in the future, hopefully.
And where can they find you on Instagram? What's your handle?
Yep.
Fly with Lotto on Instagram, Fly with Lotto on TikTok, Fly with Lotto on YouTube. Hey guys, I'm not 2.7, not 2.7, Jesus, 2,700 subscribers there. Let's get me to 3,000 if that's possible.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
man.
saying?
Follow him on his hand. It's Fly with Lotto across the board. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, so on and so forth, man.
Even Detroit.
EJ.
You don't want some weird stuff, but it's weird. Okay.
EJ, what we got coming up on the VATSIM space, man?
Hey, we've got Cross the Land coming tomorrow. I'm excited for that one. If any of you guys have not registered, it is closed at this point, but you can still go to the website. There are a lot of slots that you can still take.
We know the VP.
Yeah, yep, you know me. The website for that is ctl.vatsim.me. It'll show you at least what times nobody took if you want to just sneak in there. Outside of that, hey, the holidays are coming up, so we don't really have a lot of events going on in the Caribbean, because in the Caribbean, man, we are people who are about celebrating, so there ain't no events taking place. But after that, we're going to be looking to do a Light Up the Caribbean event for the first time in a while, where all of the ATC in the Caribbean is online. I'm going to be working with some of my streamers here to see if they can help us out with getting that promoted and get them involved too. But that's all for 2025. So right now, just happy holidays, you guys. And we'll be looking to see a lot of you after you come back from your breaks on VATSIM.
Right. All right. Very good. Thanks, man. Mark, EJ, so glad to have you here tonight, too, and for your time, buddy. Thank you so much. Mark, man, it's been great to have you in here, and thanks for all the hard work you did with the World Flight and everything that went on raising that money for the children, for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Can't thank you enough for all that, and of course CST and Mike being involved with that. What you got coming up? Want to let us know about?
Nothing in Oh, who was that from me?
No. Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead. My bad.
Oh, from the Major Mark Network, virtual flight deck. That's how we start that off, I guess. Major Mark's the name. Flight Sim is a game. Trademark Incorporated. Don't use it everywhere else. I'm actually trying to get back into the saddle of streaming. Kind of got my work schedule now. Being in the military, it's always hit or miss. That's why I jumped off the screen. Had an issue at work real quick I had to take care of. But look forward to starting a weekend stream here. So gonna start doing a Friday, Saturday stream. So look out for that. Major Mark on YouTube. Thanks.
All right, Mark, thanks for being here. CST, man, it's so good to be able to welcome you back and to have you back in the fold and in the group here. What you got coming up? What's happening with CST Gaming?
The usual stuff, man. It's I've been off the YouTubes here, and ever since I got back from World Flight. We kind of touched about it earlier, but we'll get back into it. Up busy life here, being doing a lot of stuff around the house, family and stuff like that. So we'll try to get back in the swing of things. But I usually stream on I'm only on YouTube. I do have Instagram, but it's not huge. It's just small little things. But mainly I'm on YouTube, and for those of you that know me, I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturdays. So, yeah, it's mostly flight simulation. But as I alluded to before, I'm gonna try to bring the gaming aspect back into my channel that has been missing for some years. So there's gonna be a lot more ATS, ETS, racing, hunting.
Oh yeah.
So we'll be doing a whole lot of that soon. So I'm not going to be a strictly flight simulation type of guy. Obviously, flight simulation, aviation has always have a spot in my heart, because that's what I grew up working on planes and flying planes, and so I've always been flight simming. So it's always going to have a part in my channel, but I don't want to be known as the flight sim guy. So that's not what I'm about.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Well, CST, thanks for being here tonight. Thanks for taking the time. Really appreciate everybody on the panel here. From my viewpoint, I tell you what, guys, you got to check out Mickety Mike. You got to check out Al's. You got to check out CST if you haven't done it yet. Fly with Lotto, primo people here on YouTube that are streaming not only great content, but they make it so much fun. Al's, I cannot tell you how I enjoy watching you work. I call it Al's working the crowd. I'll tell my wife.
It's amazing, man.
Yeah.
I told his dad at the expo that he's going to be the #1 streamer in flight sim. And it's going to be, I told him it's going to be fast when we had breakfast, right? And he knows how much respect I have for his family. And Owls was brought up the right way because he's got an amazing dad, an amazing mom, you know what I'm saying? But it's proud. I'm proud because, like, I've seen this kid when I think he only had, I think, 500 subs when I first started watching him. And that he wasn't even doing live streams at that time. He was just doing edits more than anything, or just like the longer flights. And, you know, very proud to see where this guy's going. He's at 31.6 now. You know, K on YouTube. That's just an amazing thing, and that's all the thanks to his hard work, his dedication, his positivity. More kids need to be like him. 16-year-old. He sounds like he's a 24-year-old. At times he could be a kid, but that's the beauty of being a kid.
Well, we're gonna give him a big head here, but indeed, I want to thank each and every one of you for being.
Yeah, we don't need to do that.
yeah. Well, you know. Listen, once again, thank all of you in the chat, especially both on mine and Mike's. Be sure to hit that subscription button if you haven't, and that thumbs up here. I'll be streaming on Monday and Wednesday evenings, having a good time. I'm getting back into the iFly 737 Max. I love that airplane. It's just so much fun. And once again, a special thanks to my buddy and partner in crime here, Mickety Mike, for we kind of dreamed up this podcast YouTube stream idea to discuss all things flight sim. And Mike, I can't thank you enough. And with that, we'll go ahead and let you close us out as normal. And thank you all for being here tonight. We really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, man.
And from the virtual flight deck.
Hey, when I get to that point, I want everybody in this chat to give me their best see ya. All right. So, but yeah, everybody, really do appreciate you guys being here with us tonight and tuning in for this very, very, you could call it controversial, you could call it open. You can call it what you want to call it, but just hearing everybody's opinion, keeping the passion alive. I just had someone in chat say you guys definitely bring the inspiration for anyone wanting to try out flight sim. I'll continue to watch you guys bringing the entertainment to their channels and to flights. And appreciate you, Captain Lanti. That's what we're here for. To everybody that tuned in on my side, appreciate you guys stopping in and hanging out in my chat and dropping a like. Make sure you drop a sub on both my channel and Captain Jack, and then make sure you head over to all these guys here and drop a follow on their YouTubes and all the rest of their social media platforms, man. We're gonna try and make this podcast a little bit more of a frequent thing. Maybe we can try and get it, I don't know if we can do once a week, but once every couple of weeks we try and hop in bi-weekly and talk about everything flight sim, what this chat is supposed to be. So we really do appreciate you guys. So to Owls, Lotto, Mark, CST, EJ Davis, and Captain Jack, we really do appreciate you guys being here, a part of the panel. And from the virtual flight deck, y'all, we will see you.
See ya.
Yeah.